It must be the recent fight that attracted those people. If it's people from the domineering army or anyone like that, this could prove to be trouble. Bai Yunqi said with a frown as he heard the footsteps as well. If it is people from the domineering army, a fight will definitely be inevitable when they see that their own people had been killed. If it was others, it was hard to say that they would not reveal it, but they couldn't just kill everyone who witnessed it. They were not that kind of ruthless people. Creak, Z who heard some movement as Bai Yunqi's hands struggled weakly. Quickly, a group of people came from around the corner. After seeing who it was, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. Young master? Uncle Li? Bai Yunqi and Li Kuei called out simultaneously. Young master, what are you doing here? Li Kuei looked at Bai Yunqi and the bodies behind him as he rushed over. We were chasing the purple fox while running here, then we encountered men from the domineering army. Bai Yunqi said, Uncle Li, how did you guys get here? Li Kuei saw Qin Wu's corpse as his eyes flashed with astonishment. He stole a glance at Sima Yu and the other 5 as he answered, we heard that there was a fight nearby, and was worried that it was our own men, so we came here to take a look. Young master, are you all okay? This. Qin Wu? Uncle Li, we are fine, Qin Wu was killed by Yu and the rest. Bai Yunqi explained the situation simply. After learning that Sima Yu was a spirit overlord at such a young age, and had even beaten the 4th-ranked Qin Wu, his heart was endlessly surprised. However, they also believed that they were not people that was sent by the domineering army because Qin Wu played a very important role in the domineering army. Even if he wanted to gain the trust of Bai Yunqi and the rest, he would not sacrifice Qin Wu. Thinking up to this point, Li Kuei grabbed the hands of Sima Yu and the rest, saying gratefully, thank you all so much for saving our young master. Don't mention it, Uncle Li, we are Yunqi's friends, and the other party was trying to kill us, so we were just protecting ourselves. Wei Ziqi said while waving his hands. Uncle Li, you don't have to be so courteous with them. Bai Yunqi said, instead of saying these words, why not just go back together and have a good drink, right, Ziqi? Wei Ziqi smiled and nodded his head, said, that's right. Uncle Li, this purple fox has been caught, our mission has also been completed, when will we head back? I would like very much to have a drink with them now. Bai Yunqi said while placing the purple fox in Uncle Li's hands. The sky still looks bright today, after we head back to assemble the people, we would be ready to move out. Li Kuei said with a smile, but before we leave, there is something we need to do. What do we have to do? Bai Yunqi thought to himself, since they've already completed their mission, what else was there? Li Kuei waved his hands and 2 mercenaries appeared. They tied both their hands and lit up their torches, burning the corpses of Qin Wu and the rest into ashes. This Qin Wu is akin to the backbone of the domineering army. If people found out we killed him, it's hard to say that we wouldn't have troubled times ahead. It is fine now, let us head back. Li Kuei said. Bai Yunqi gave a look of understanding. Sima Yu and the rest had wanted to destroy the corpse from the start before leaving anyway. They were not surprised at all when they saw what Li Kuei did. Young master, let us head back. Li Kuei said after seeing that the burning was pretty much completed. Alright, let us head back. We have been wandering around this mountain for about 2 months, our body is quickly growing a layer of mold. Bai Yunqi said while stretching his waist. Thinking of Sima Yu and the rest stayed in the mountains for around 2 years, he looked at them with admiration. If it was him, he would definitely not be able to do it. They returned to camp as Li Kuei counted the men. They kept their tent away and prepared to leave while waiting for everyone else to return. There was still quite a few days' worth of distance from here to the exit of the mountain. They had a larger number of people, and their strength was not weak. Some spirit beasts hid far away when they saw them, making this journey a relatively smooth one. A few days later, they got out of Sophia mountain range. There was a mountain in front of them, a city in front of them, and saw a wall standing in the empty plains far away. Bai Yunqi pointed towards the city in front, said, Yu, there lies the closest city to us, 3 Springs City. Don't you underestimate the distance from here, it is not as near as you think. Sima Yu naturally knew that in the empty plains, the empty space would make things look closer than they actually were. Things would look near, but in fact were really far. This Lord of 3 Springs City is my uncle. Once we arrive, I'll get him to provide to you all with an identification card. After that you can follow us to Peace City. Once you have your identification, our army will not give you any trouble even after you leave in the future. Bai Yunqi said. Fatty Chu punched his shoulder, saying, you didn't mention this before in the past. Bai Yunqi laughed and said, I wasn't planning to find my uncle in the first place. If my aunt found out that I had returned without greet them, she would definitely start nagging again. It's just that I was thinking of getting you all some identification cards, that I thought of looking for them. Everyone understood his point. Initially he only decided to bring them on a one-way trip to Peace City. However, after a few days of getting along, he decided to get them a personal identification, because he has acknowledged them in his heart. In that case, sorry to trouble you. Wei Ziqi politely said. Wait till we reach the city's main house. We will have a good drink, then. Bai Yunqi saw that they didn't blame him and said with a laugh. Let's go, we will try to rush to 3 Springs City before sunset. If the city gate closes, we will need to wait till the next day to enter the city. Li Kuei said. Sima Yu thought of Little Roar who was still at the back, turned toward Sophia Mountain and whistled. This Little Roar, he didn't appear for such a long time. Don't tell me he went to flirt with spirit beasts again? Bai Yunqi could not help but tease when he recalled the last time he saw Little Roar flirting with the spirit beasts the last time. Sima Yu also thought this way. This little roar did not change his ways, even after getting beaten up by 1,000 resonants. She was endlessly embarrassed because he would flirt no matter where he went, but she was completely helpless. After a long while, Little Roar's small figure appeared from the mountain and nestled in Sima Yuyu's arms. Sima Yuyu grabbed him by its neck. Before she started to rebuke him, he hurried to say, Yuyu, I didn't flirt with any spirit beasts this time. Sima Yuyu stared at him, no? Then what have you been up to this time? You were gone for a whole day. You took so long to come out. Yuyu, I discovered there is something not right with the spirit beast in the mountains, so I went to scout around the mountain. Little Roar said. What's not right? Fatty Chu moved closely and asked. I found out those spirit beasts became really crazy, but I don't know why. Also, the spirit beasts inside keep migrating and their numbers are not few either. Little Roar said. After listening to what he said, Sima Yuyu and the rest had their uncertainty. Li Kuei and Bai Yunqi faces became undignified. Uncle Li, don't tell me it's a beast tide? Bai Yunqi said with worry. To my knowledge, Three Spring City's last beast tide was only half a year ago, how can it happen again so quickly? Li Kuei said, not matter what, there is movements in Sophia Mountain Range, so we better inform your uncle as soon as we can. The group of them got their horses to speed up and they managed to rush to Three Spring City before the sun set. Fatty Chu and the rest saw the majestic towering city, and were shocked, one by one. There actually is a city wall that is so high, Dongchen Kingdom's wall is totally weak compared to this. Fatty Chu exclaimed. This wall is 100 meters tall? Wei Ziqi lifted his head towards the top of the wall and inspected it. It should be around there. Sima Yuyu also saw a wall this tall for the first time. They were really nothing if she compared this to all the other walls they've seen in the past. Only Ouyang Fei and Bei Gong Tang remained calm. It probably wasn't the first time they encountered this. Actually, yes. The rest of the walls are this tall. Bai Yunqi said, because Three Spring City is near to Sophia Mountains, and the spirit beast's tide occurs every few years. That is why the wall is built high and thick. Beast tide? Is that the stampede Little Roar talked about? It's quite uncertain this time. Bai Yunqi shook his head and said, the previous beast tides were quite regular, it is unsure whether or not the beast tide this time is just one within Sophia Mountains or whether it will reach the outside. No matter what, we have to inform my uncle, so that he can be prepared. Let's quickly head into the city. Li Kuei said. Sima Yuyu saw that the guards keeping the gates were already shouting, urging those who were still entering the city to fasten their pace, so that they could close the gates. As a result, the group of them hurriedly entered. Young master. The moment Sima Yuyu and the rest entered the city, a man who appeared to be a servant, rushed to the front of Bai Yunqi, hugged him and started crying. Li Si? Aren't you supposed to be at home being a door god? Why did you run all the way here? Young master, you finally returned. Sob, if you still didn't return, Li Si's but would have been beaten black and blue, okay. What's wrong? Got punished by my aunt again? Madam knows you went to the Sophia Mountain Range and ordered me to wait here every day. If you didn't turn up, I wasn't allowed to eat. Sob, she also said that she would beat my butt until it bleeds if I couldn't wait for you. Li Si cried, young master, no matter what, this time you have to go back with me, if not madam will not spare me. How did my young aunt know that I went to Sophia Mountain Range? Bai Yunqi tried harder and harder and harder to make Li Si reveal everything. Sima Yuyu only now truly noticed Li Si's appearance. He had a white face that was quite immature. He looks to be of a similar age as them. Young master, are you stupid? You used the teleportation array to come here, so how would the lady mistress not know? Li Si wiped his mucus and said, the moment you move one step forward, mistress will know your next step. So, she made me wait for you here every day. I waited for you for 2 whole months before you finally came back, sob. Young master, this time you must come back with me, if not, I will run away from home. Sima Yuyu heard Li Si's words. Looking at the interaction between him and Bai Yunqi, it could be seen that in the main house of the city he doesn't merely hold the position of a small servant. Bai Yunqi patted Li Si's head, saying, poor obedient fellow, this time, I came back to find uncle and aunt. I won't run away again. Really? Li Si raised his head, with his eyes shining brightly. Let's go, I still have some matters to tell uncle. Bai Yunqi said. Okay, let's go, then. Li Si wiped off the non-existent tears, turned and raised his head and left. This Three Spring City and Salt City were both cities on the mountain edge, but the scale of the cities were very different. It was only half the size of Salt City. They walked until a corner, where they heard quite a few beast carriages. The driver of the transport all jumped down when they saw Li Si bringing people over. Greetings to young master. The driver shouted towards Bai Yunqi and saluted. Bai Yunqi saw those beast carriages and said, and even prepared all these. Since this is the case, Uncle Li, let us be driven there. Bai Yunqi and Li Kuei boarded the first vehicle, while he arranged for Sima Yuyu and the rest for the second vehicle, and the rest of the mercenary group squeezed into the rest of the vehicles at the back. The beast carriages galloped very quickly. Sima Yuyu and the rest pulled open the curtain to look, realizing that they were speeding on an empty big road. It seemed that this was similar to the driveway of the sidewalks in her previous life. The beast carriages ran for around half an hour before coming to a stop. Sima Yuyu and the rest alighted and saw a majestic mansion. This is the main house of the city. Isn't this bigger than the imperial palace in Dongchen? Bai Yunqi walked over and said, this was built by the last governor. My uncle and aunt were the next tenants. The inside is not as luxurious as the outside. Young master, let's go in, my lady and the rest are expecting all of you. Let's go. Bai Yunqi said to the rest. Upon entering, Sima Yu and the rest realized that the decorations were much simpler inside. When compared to the outside, it felt completely different. It was magnificent on the outside, while the inside was simple, and yet not simple. The people who passed by all saluted at Bai Yunqi. Bai Yunqi smiled and greeted everyone as well. It appeared that he was quite familiar with the people here. Li Si brought Bai Yunqi, Li Kuei and Sima Yu and gang into the guest room, while another servant brought the rest of the mercenary group to the rest area. Young master, please wait for a while, my master and madam will be over soon. Li Si gave a look to the maidservants at the side, before the maidservants immediately went out. The maidservants on the other side of the room served them tea. Sima Yu looked at the decorations in the living room. Aside from the necessary table and chairs, there were 2 other stone sculptures on both ends of the room, a plaque hanging above the main seat. Above it was inscribed forcefully with words that called for the diligence of a citizen. Sima Yu lowered her head and laughed. It was just about the diligence of a citizen, so how did this made her think of her past king? Good. You little bastard. You crossed from here, yet you did not come straight to Ant. Do you respect me at all, or is it that you do not want to see Ant anymore? You heartless little bastard. A fresh and nimble female voice was heard, followed by a figure rushing in from the outside. It pounced towards the seat Bai Yunqi was sitting in. Bai Yunqi, upon hearing this voice, jumped from his chair, and away from her when she pounced over, causing that woman to pounce on thin air. Sun Li saw that Bai Yunqi had run away, and placed both hands on her hips as she continued nagging him, sob sob sob, little Chi still wants to hide from me, and doesn't let me hug him, sob sob sob, Ant is really upset, boo hoo hoo. She cried crocodile tears as she said this in front of everyone. Bai Yunqi saw that she is doing this once again, and could not help but roll his eyes, saying, Ant, don't be like this, there are guests here. Guests or not, I don't care, are you coming over to let me hug you? Sun Li saw Bai Yunqi, and refused to give up if he did not give in to her. Previous chapter. A middle-aged man walked in from the outside, and Bai Yunqi looked at him as if he was looking at his savior. He yelled, Uncle, come and talk to young Ant, please. Wang Lei came in and glanced at the people in the house before saying in exasperation when he saw his own wife again. He spread his arms open wide and said, you know your young Ant's character. If you don't let her hug you today, she will never give it up. Young Ant dash, Bai Yunqi glared helplessly at Sun Li as she directly pounced over. He shut his eyes tightly. Little Chi, sob sob sob, you've grown up so much. You're not as cute as you used to be. Sigh, you don't feel right as I hug you. After she finished hugging Bai Yunqi, Sun Li pushed him away nonchalantly and slapped him on the head, shouting, you child, you didn't even tell me when you went to the Sophia mountain range. Wow, you really got guts now, don't you? Young Ant, wasn't it just because I didn't want you to worry? Bai Yunqi looked helplessly at Sun Li before going close to her ear and whispering, young Ant, I have many friends here. You should leave me with some dignity, okay? At this point, his uncle had come to help save him. He walked forward and pulled Sun Li onto a chair to sit, saying, Li, there are many people around. You should behave a bit more appropriately. Humph, I'll let you off this time. Sun Li coyly sat beside Wang Lei before smiling at Sima Yu and the others, saying, are you little Chi's friends? The first time that they heard the name little Ai Chi, Sima Yu and the others could not help but smile. They really wanted to smile once more when they heard it again. Young Ant, their friends that I got to know at the Sophia mountain range. This is Yu, Zi Chi, Ouyang Fei, Bei Gong Tang. Bai Yunqi had long since been immune to the nickname that Sun Li had given him and was introducing Sima Yu and the others, one by one. Met them at the Sophia mountain range? Sun Li looked over them, I never thought that you all would go to the Sophia mountain range though you're all so young. You're really young heroes. You praise us too much. Wei Ziqi said on behalf of the group. Young Ant, they're my saviors as well. Bai Yunqi said. Saviors? That's right. Bai Yunqi said, at that time, we encountered Qin Wu at the mountain range and he had brought men to kill me, but they saved me. Qin Wu brought men to kill you? Sun Li raged immediately upon hearing it and stood up, slapping the table. This domineering army is really getting too bold. I'll head back to tell my older sister's husband. I'll let him bring men with him to exterminate them all. Sit down first. Wang Lei pulled her down and let her sit down once again before saying to Bai Yunqi, tell us the whole situation first. Okay. Bai Yunqi recounted the events that happened that day and Sun Li's expression got a little bit better when she found out and he had not received any injuries. The two of them were quite surprised when they heard that it was Sima Yu who had killed Qin Wu. Thank you so much for saving little Chi. Sun Li smiled as she to Sima Yu. No need for madam to be so courteous. Sima Yu smiled as she replied. Uncle, I have come this time to ask you for a favor. Bai Yunqi said. Ask me for a favor? What's going on? Wang Lai looked at Bai Yunqi. This guy had never come to look for him for help before. Cough cough, the situation is like this. Sima Yu and the others have come out from the Dongchen kingdom and need an identification card for our Three Spring city. Bai Yunqi explained. From the Dongchen kingdom? Sun Li and Wang Lei's eyes flashed with surprise. That's right. Bai Yunqi said, Uncle, will you be able to help us with the identification process? Wang Lei replied, I can. However, I need 2 days to produce this identification, and I also need a place to hang it up as well. With regards to hanging it up, actually, this was quite similar to her previous home. Hanging it in Three Springs City would prove that they were citizens of Three Springs City. Do we even need to find a place for this? We just have to hang it up in our residence. Sun Li said straightforwardly. However, this does indeed take 2 days. Why don't you all stay in our residence for these 2 days? Okay. Uncle Li, shall we wait 2 days before going off? Bai Yunqi looked at Li Kuei. Li Kuei had remained silent the entire time he had come in and only nodded his head at this point, saying, everyone has just come back from the Sophia mountain range, so they can rest here for a bit. Furthermore, if you have any need, we'll be able to help out as well. Right, I almost forgot something. Bai Yunqi patted his forehead, saying, Uncle, when we were leaving, Yu's contracted beast said that he realized that the spirit beasts in Sophia mountain range were irritable and restless. There were even many spirit beasts from the middle area moving out from inside. It appeared to be an organized migration. As a result, we're wondering whether or not this would be a sign of their migration. The spirit beasts are restless? Wang Lei furrowed his eyebrows, but it's only been half a year since the last beast tide. There's still 2 years plus worth of time before the next beast tide. How could there be movement at this time? We're unable to confirm whether or not this is something to do with the spirit beasts themselves or whether it will result in a beast migration. We rushed here the moment we knew of this because we wanted to just let you know first. Bai Yunqi said. Wang Lei and Sun Li exchanged glances, and one could tell the gravity of the situation by the look in their eyes. He cupped his arms towards everyone as he said, this situation is rather dire, so I have to send men to check it out. If the situation calls of it, I have to request for a bit of help from everyone. I will leave right now. Li, take care of everyone. I take my leave. Everyone stood up to send him out before returning to their own seats. Sun Li was actually very worried as well, and the aura emanating from her body had unknowingly gotten stronger. It was obvious that the news about the spirit beast migration had caused them great worry. Young aunt, you don't have to worry. Who knows, they could be merely moving around the Sophia mountain range for a bit. Bai Yunqi comforted her when he saw how worried she was. It would be great if that really were the case. Sun Li sighed, saying, if that isn't the case, then it's going to be a lot of trouble. How would it be? Fatty Chu voiced out in question. From what they knew, spirit beasts just had to come and go. He couldn't understand what they were so worried about. Li Kuei, who was standing at the side, replied, it's possible that you all have never seen a beast tide. Every time that happens, more than 10,000 spirit beasts will gather. And it's not at a level that our soldiers will be able to handle. Every time before a beast tide, the city lord Wang will send men to invite powerful spirit masters over to help. If there really are that many spirit beasts, it would definitely be a very dangerous occurrence. Fatty Chu looked at Li Kuei with surprise, are those spirit masters willing to come? They would definitely be willing. Bai Li Kuei said, every time, the city lord will give those spirit masters ample rewards. Those spirit masters would be willing after seeing the rewards, even if they weren't willing at first. Bai Yunqi's tone was not that great, and you could tell that he did not really like those spirit masters who came solely for the reward. But not all of them are like that. Sun Li said, there are also many spirit masters who come to help us resist the onslaught of spirit beasts. After speaking to this point, she hesitated before looking at Sima Yu and the others, saying, if it's really a beast tide, I beseech the few of you to remain to help us. Previous chapter. Sima Yu pondered it over for a moment before saying, Madam, we still have things that we need to do, so we can't stay here for too long. If the beast tide happens really quickly, we will definitely help with all our strength. We can probably wait for half a year, but we won't be able to wait longer than that. I wonder what you all have to do. Sun Li said. Rescue people. Sima Yu had no plans to hide it. 2 years ago, people from the Sima clan came to kidnap my grandfather and brothers. At that time, I arranged a 3-year time frame with those people. I have to save my grandfather and the others within 3 years. So this is the case. Sun Li nodded her head with understanding, saying, then how much time do you have left? Exactly half a year. Sima Yu replied. After tarrying in the capital for a half a year's time and staying in the Sophia mountain range for 2 years, she was only left with half a year's time. The people of the Sima clan are not anything good. Yu, who did you make the agreement with at that time? Is the person reliable or not? Bai Yunqi hated the people of the Sima clan a lot and clenched her fist tightly with anger. I made the arrangement with Sima Lin. Sima Yu's eyes flashed with a chill when she thought of what happened that year. Sima Lin? After hearing this name, Bai Yunqi, Sun Li and Li Kuei furrowed their eyebrows. It seemed as if they had never heard of this name. What's wrong? Is this person no good? Don't tell me it is the kind of person that doesn't stay true to their word. Fatty Chu's heart started to pound when he saw that they appeared troubled. What rank of strength does Sima Lin has? Sun Li asked without answering. 2 years ago already he was already a high-ranked spirit king. I'm not sure if he has already become a spirit paragon by now. Sima Yu looked at Sun Li's weird expression and asked, is there a problem? Yu, to the best of our knowledge, there seems to be no such person called Sima Lin in the Sima clan. Bai Yunqi said. No such person? How can it be? Sima Yu and Wei Ziqi faces held expressions of disbelief. If it really was the Sima family, how could there be no such person? It is true. If he was already a person who had half a foot in the rank of spirit paragon, then he would have been someone famous in the West Moon Kingdom. However, there is not such person called Sima Lin who is a spirit king in the Sima family. Li Kuei explained. How could it? So there actually is no Sima Lin. Sima Yu let herself calm down and asked, then, is there a Sima Kai or Sima Ku? No, there isn't. We've never heard of those people of whom you have just mentioned. Bai Yunqi said, we and the people from the Sima family have lived in Peace City, so if there was such people, it is not possible that we do not know them. Sima Yu sat on the chair, and was temporarily unable to react. Could there be some sort of mistake? Maybe the Sima family you are looking for isn't the one in Peace City? Bai Yunqi guessed. It is not impossible. Bei Gongtang said, it is not weird that there are families that possesses a similar last name within the same continent. Then, apart from the Sima family in Peace City, are there any other places that have clans which also possess the surname, Sima? Ouyang Fei asked. At the very least, the West Moon Kingdom doesn't have it. Li Kuei shook his head and said. I do know of a family that possesses Sima in their last name. Sun Li said, however, if it is that family that you speak of, the obstacle that you all will have to face will be huge. Which clan is that you speak of? Fatty Chu asked. Sun Li thought for a while, replying, I once heard someone in my family mention that there is a Sima clan in Central Wu Kingdom. Upon hearing mention of Central Chu Kingdom, Li Kuei and Bai Yunqi jolted on their seat, saying, don't tell me that is the clan that you are speaking of? What clan? Fatty Chu asked. Actually, although we say that it is one of the 4 empires, but the people in Central Wu Kingdom are far stronger in the spirit than the other 3 countries. Bai Yunqi said, even their raw power alone is much more powerful than ours. Why does it seem so? Didn't I told you before that, in the Yilin mainland the power were split into 3, 6, 9 and so on? Bai Yunqi said, one of the best and second-rate forces, Central Wu Kingdom has the most. That Sima clan. The Sima clan in the past was a first-class force. However, in the recent years, they had a fall, and has already become a second-rate force. Sun Li said, however, as the saying goes, a skinny camel is still bigger than a horse. Although that Sima clan is not as good as before, as far as heritage goes, it is not something that ordinary people can shake. That is why I said, if that is the Sima clan that you are looking for, the opponent that you will face will be huge. After hearing what Sun Li said, Sima Yu and others fell silent. Before, when they were in Sophia Mountain Range, Bai Yunqi shared with them about the popularity about the division of 3, 6, 9 and the other forces. Being able to be among the top forces, that spirit paragon person would have at least 20 people and above, a spirit king would have at least 100. They would have possessed a lot of practice resources, as well as countless supporting forces. If it truly was the Sima family of Central Wu Kingdom, wanting to save Sima Lai and the others from their hands would be exceptionally difficult. Other than these 2 Sima clans, are there no other clans with the surname Sima? Wei Ziqi naturally thought of this point, as he asked with a frown. Having a last name Sima is not uncommon, but if we're talking about clans, we only know of these 2. Sun Li said, if we have not heard of them before, then this kind of clan would not have the capacity to enter the Sophia Mountain Range to kidnap your grandfather and the others. Then, madam, you must know of what the attributes of spiritual qi these 2 Sima clans practice? Sima Yu asked. The Sima family in Peace City are mostly of metallic and earth attributes, Central Wu Kingdom would be fire. Sun Li replied. Fire. Sima Yu murmured, then it probably would be the Sima clan in the Central Wu Kingdom. That's right, the person from my clan has also mentioned that he recently met someone by luck, who displayed skills in the Sima family of Central Wu Kingdom. He condensed a giant sword out from a sky of flames, that power of the flame was very fierce and easily beheaded a sacred beast. Flaming sword. Wei Ziqi and the others looked toward Sima Yu as she had drawn out a flaming sword that day as well. Once Sima Yu upon heard this, she had a feeling that the Sima clan she was looking for, was probably in the Central Wu Kingdom. That was why, in the past, Sima Lin said that even if they returned, there would be more powerful people that will come. To be able to get Sima Lai follow them back without resistance meant that they were probably not an ordinary force. Ouyang Fei also said that South Eclipse Kingdom didn't have any, as was the case for the West Moon Kingdom. They were only left with the 2, Northern Yen and Central Wu Kingdom. If there were other Sima clans, Sun Li and those who had lived past 100 years, would have known of them. First-class forces, even in decline, are still non-ordinary existences. Sima Yu exclaimed after she had sorted out her feelings. Seems like wanting to save her grandfather and brothers was much harder than she thought. Looking at Sima Yu growing somber, everyone grew worried. Bai Yunqi coughed twice, looked at Sima Yu and asked, Yu, if it is really the Sima family of Central Wu Kingdom, what do you plan to do? Sima Yu raised her head, eyes resolute. No matter who the enemy is, they cannot slow me down. Since I made a 3-year contract, then I will be on schedule. Great. Sun Li looked at Sima Yu with approval, still young, yet having this state of mind, not bad at all. But what if that Sima clan isn't the Sima clan that we are looking for? Fatty Chu said with some worry. Seems like we have to go in advance to take a look. Sima Yu said. You all can feel comfortable staying here for a while. Sun Li said, you all have saved little Chi-Chi's life, uncle will definitely repay you well. The Sand Gulls are among the ranks of the 3 big mercenary groups, it will naturally have some power, helping you to gather some information is no problem. Is this okay? Sima Yu looked at Sun Li. Of course it is okay. Bai Yun Qi said with some excitement, how could I have forgotten this? Can we get father to send some people to check it out, see if that Sima clan is the one that you are looking for? What are those people called? Sima Lai and Sima what? Sima Lin, Sima Kai, Sima Ku, Sima Qing. Sima Yu said. Good, in a while I will get my people to use the teleportation array, let father send people to check if the Sima clan in Central Wu Kingdom has any of those people. Bai Yun Qi said. Thank you for your trouble. Sima Yu looked at Bai Yun Qi gratefully. Young master, let me handle this matter. Li Kuei said. Then, thank you for your hard work, Uncle Li. Bai Yun Qi bowed. Li Kuei stood up, faced Sun Li and saluted, nodded toward Sima Yu and the rest before leaving the living room. Sun Li again asked Sima Yu and the rest some questions and chatted with them. She was a very talkative person with a very straightforward personality. Sima Yu and the rest enjoyed chatting with her. After a long while, Wang Lei returned. Seeing his own wife laughing so happily, he sat down, took the cup of tea that he left behind and drank it all in one go. After that, he asked, what are you all chatting about so happily? Just listening to Yu and the rest talk about their experience in Sophia Mountain Range. Sun Li. Lili kept her smile, asked, how is the situation? I have already sent people to check it out, I estimate that we will know the results tomorrow. Wang Lei replied. Then we can only wait for the results. Sun Li said, oh right, how much do you know about the Sima clan of Central Wu Kingdom? Sima clan of Central Wu Kingdom? Wang Lei subconsciously frowned, looked at Sun Li and asked, why the sudden question? Sun Li explained Sima Yu's situation carefully once through. After hearing the end of it, Wang Lei looked toward Sima Yu with a worried expression. Li Kuei has already sent men to look for uncle and we thought that you might have some knowledge on the Sima clan, that is why we asked. Sun Li said. Wang Lei sighed and said, you all don't have to inquire anymore, the Sima clan in Central Wu Kingdom is the one you are looking for. Are you sure, Brother Lei? Sun Li asked. I can confirm this. Wang Lei said, the person from Sima family that I said I recently had met had a person called Sima Lin, and another one called Sima Ku amongst them. Sima Yu and Wei Ziqi looked at each other with eyes that held traces of happiness and worry. They were happy because they had finally tracked down the location of Sima Lai and the others. However, the worrying part was the strength of the other party. It would not be that easy this time. Then how does one find his way to Central Wu Kingdom? Wei Ziqi asked. There is no tight control between the countries. There is a teleportation array in the capital. When the time comes, you all can get there using the array. Wang Lei said, however, the teleportation array is not available every day, only once on Wednesdays, Fridays and Sundays. At the specific time, you must go to the imperial capital and ask. It is fine as long as we are able to get there. Sima Yu's worried herd eased up by half as she hoped that she would not get it wrong this time. Bai Yun Qi saw that the conversation was ending, and knew that Sun Li and Wang Lei still had issues to discuss, so he said, Aunt, I will bring you and the rest down. Before, we agreed that we would have a good drink with them once we arrived. Go ahead, go ahead. You know how to host your friends yourself. Sun Li waved her hands, you all can stay in the Santo family this few days, once you are done waiting for your personal identification, you can decide on what is next. Alright, thank you for the trouble. Wei Ziqi and the rest stood up, waved to Wang Lei and Sun Li, followed by Yun Qi and left the palace. Let's go, I'll bring you guys for good drinks today. Bai Yun Qi held Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu's shoulder, laughed and led them out. In the living room, Sun Li watched them leave and said to Wang Lei, Brother Lei, is there anything you're hiding from them and not saying? Wang Lei looked speechlessly at Sun Li with a tired face. Enough, you think that by not saying anything, I would not know? Sun Li pinched Wang Lei's nose, said, by seeing your expression, I know that there are things that you did not say. What is it that you can't say to them? Actually it is also nothing much, I only heard that in the recent 2 years' time, something has gone wrong with the Sima clan in Central Chu Kingdom. I do not know if it's a blessing or curse for him to rescue his grandfather and the rest during this period of time. Wang Lei sighed. If it was the Sima clan of Peace City, it was not impossible to want to save them. However, if you went to Central Chu Kingdom to save the people in the Sima clan, it would not be an easy task. I believe that Sima Yu and the rest of them can do it. Sun Li said with some confidence. You trust them that much? Wang Lei had some misgivings. He knew very well that the look in the eyes of his wife meant that she had quite harsh demands of these youngsters. Before you came, we chatted, and I found out that these 5 kids were not the same as other youths. Sun Li said, can you believe, in order to exit the land of exile, the 5 of them stayed in Sophia Mountain Range for more than 2 years. Oh. Not many people will go to Sophia Mountains Range for experience. However, if there were, it was at most a few months to a year. Being able to live there for 2 years means they must have the calmness that not many young people have, resistance to loneliness and strength. Otherwise it's impossible to make it out alive. Wang Lei laughed, the 5 of them truly do not look like regular young people. That is if my perception can be seen as normal. Bai Yun Qi brought Sima Yu and the rest to the small compound he arranged and allowed the people to prepare wine and snacks. The 6 of them started to eat and drink in the small pavilion within the small compound. After she had drunk 3 cups of wine, Sima Yu said, Oh Yang, I have a question for you. What? Dongchen Kingdom, East, West Moon Kingdom, South Eclipse Kingdom, Central Wu Kingdom, North Yen Country. I have always thought that they were named according to their own position, but I found out that Dongchen Kingdom is located in the west of the four empires. Sima Yu said. That's right, it the most western side. Ouyang Fei nodded his head. In that case, aren't we lacking a kingdom? West Moon Kingdom, South Yu Kingdom, Central Wu Kingdom, then what about the east? Is there no kingdom? Sima Yu asked. After listening to her question, the expressions on the faces of Ouyang Fei and Bai Yunqi changed. Actually, they are named north, south and west according to their direction. As for why is there no kingdom in the east, that is because there is an endless sea in that direction. It is a vast sea, which why there isn't a kingdom. Bai Yunqi answered. A sea? Sima Yu thought of the earth, which had 7 continents and 4 oceans. She didn't seem to think anything weird and said, then there isn't anyone residing at the sea? I'm not sure if there is anyone residing there. Ouyang Fei said, because it is more dangerous in the sea than in the Sophia mountain range, it is rare for people to go there. If there are people residing in the sea, there isn't anyone there who came to the mainland. It is actually more dangerous than Sophia mountains? Fatty Chu said in shock, could it be that there are spirit beasts inside the sea? It naturally will. Bai Yunqi said, I heard from people from over there before, the spirit beasts in the sea are much stronger than the spirit beasts in the land. Also, many of them come in groups. If you encounter them, there will be up to thousands or 10,000s of them. Everyone thought of being surrounded by more than 1,000 of them and couldn't help but shudder. Everyone talked and drank all the way until midnight. Sima Yu returned to the room that was arranged. After expelling the wine, they began practicing again. If it was as according to what Wang Lei and the others said, Sima clan was truly a first-class power tier. If so, her current strength was not enough. She needed to make use of any time she had to practice. She cultivated for 4 days, and in these 4 days, there was not a single person who came to disturb her. 4 days later, she continued to practice. Sensing that there were people wandering outside, she opened the door and went out. Bai Yunqi was, in fact, wandering around the courtyard. Hearing that Sima Yu's house was quiet, he did not knock on the door. Seeing that she came out, he walked 2 steps over, saying, you came out. Yunqi, what is the matter? Sima Yu looked around, the rest was not present, asked, where is Ziqi and the rest? They have all gone up the city wall. Bai Yunqi said, I was initially there too, but I came here to look for you right after upon receiving the news from my father. I also went to see if you were still practicing since I was here. Is it news of the Sima clan? Sima Yu asked. That's right, Sima Lin, Sima Ku, Sima Qing are people from the Sima clan in Central Wu Kingdom. Seems like your grandfather should be there too. Bai Yunqi said. Since we have confirmed their location, that is good enough. Sima Yu said. Is it the beast tide? That's right. Ziqi and the rest are at the city walls, let us quickly make our way there too. I will tell you the rest of the details on the way there. Bai Yunqi said with some worries on the situation there. Okay. Because the situation was urgent, both of them flew straight to the city wall from the residence. As it turned out, on the second day that Sima Yu and the rest arrived at the residence, the people who went out to check the situation came back. They brought back unfavorable news. Just as Little Roar said, within Sophia mountain range, the spirit beasts were all restless and agitated. The spirit beasts in the central areas had all migrated to the peripheries. This situation was somewhat different from the previous beast tide, however, their destination was definitely towards Three Spring City. At first, they thought was the spirit beast would wait for a period of time before their next attack. This was because each time a beast tide occurred in the past, there would at least be a large part of the month's time for them to prepare. However, it was different this time. On the second morning of the day since the news was passed, the guard of the capitals realized that the beasts were invading. Wang Lei quickly assembled his men and came to the top of the wall immediately. He realized that the beasts that just came did not attack the people, but encircled the city wall, guarding defensively as if they were waiting for some person to arrive. Sima Yu and Bai Yunqi flew over. The people on the wall all saw them but didn't say anything. Although usually it is not allowed to fly in the skies of the city, but at the present moment it is unusual, all these are not what people are concerned about. Yu, you're here. Bei Gong Tang and the rest saw Sima Yu landing at their side and said. They all knew that there were times where Sima Yu would take a very long time whenever she had a breakthrough. That was why they told Bai Yunqi not to bother her when they saw that the house was quiet. They waited for her to wake up on her own. How's the situation? Sima Yu asked. Take a look for yourself. Wei Ziqi stepped aside to let Sima Yu stand at the front. Sima Yu took a glance at the situation below and sucked in a breath in shock when she saw so many spirit beasts. There were crowds of spirit beasts squeezed together before, filling up every single space below, stretching even to the foot of the Sophia mountain range. They numbered hundreds of thousands. Frightening, right? Fatty Chu took a look at the spirit beasts below and said, I was thinking whether or not the entirety of spirit beasts from Sophia mountain range was here. There's too many of them. Even though we have these people here, will we be able to hold it back? The voice of a spirit master was heard, and it sounded quite timid. It was not only that spirit master. There were many there who had lots of questions in their heart. There were so many spirit beasts, but only 1,000 of them. Would they be able to hold them back? Sima Yu looked at the people on the wall and asked, Yunqi, have you seen any of these spirit beasts before? Are there always so many spirit beasts? Bai Yunqi never thought that he would go on a wild goose chase. It looked like the spirit beasts had added in number by quite a bit. Hearing Sima Yu ask him this question, he shook his head, saying, I came the last time the spirit beasts arrived. At the time, my uncle said that, at most, there was double the amount of spirit beasts. However, that wasn't even half of this current number. Wei Ziqi narrowed his eyes. The last beast tide was less than half a year ago. Also, it looks like they're waiting in formation below. Looks to me like it was man-made. Since this is the case, there must be a reason. We need to think of a way to find out what this reason is. Perhaps then, there will be a solution to this. Once Bai Yunqi heard this, his eyes flashed as he patted Wei Ziqi's shoulder, saying, what Ziqi said is true. How could I have not thought about this earlier? I'm going to tell uncle. After he finished speaking, he ran towards the direction where Wang Lei was. Look, you all. There's a black bear on the left side. Isn't that the black bear that chased me until Fatty Chu lost his shoe? Sima Yu suddenly pointed to the front and said. Fatty Chu looked over and there was truly that black bear that chased them, in the center of a group of black bears. Well damn, it really is him. Fatty Chu had a very lasting deep impression of that black bear. If Sima Yu did not point anything out, they never would have noticed that group of black bears. Now that she said it, they immediately recognized it. It was as if that black bear could sense the gazes of Fatty Chu and the others as he looked towards them. It seemed that he could recognize them at a glance as well. Roar dash. The black bear roared loudly at them, but it did not make a single move. That black bear has the temper of a bomb. It should have charged at us immediately upon recognizing us, but it actually merely roared twice. Ouyang Fei raised his eyebrows as he said. It is already a saint beast. Since this is the case, this means. Fatty Chu's eyes grew large in disbelief at his own conjecture. Previous chapter. Sima Yu looked at the sunset in Sophia Mountain Rage and muttered, that person who is able to tame all these saint beasts must be of really high rank. Either that, or he has the ability to absolutely dominate them. There were many of those on the city walls that could tell the strength of the spirit beasts below. They naturally thought of this point as well. As a result, they all furrowed their eyebrows in frustration beside Sun Li, who stood there with a face of determination. The spirit masters who had been hastily scouted looked down at the spirit beasts and found Wang Lei. After they said something, they quickly left the city walls and flew towards the inner city. That direction was towards the Three Springs Spirit Master Guild. Once one person had done it, there were many spirit masters who decided to back out as well. It wasn't that the remuneration given by the official residents was not enough, but that their life was needed in order for them to receive those rewards anyway. A few spirit masters saw the retreating spirit masters and could not help but scold them. They were those who truly wished to help the Three Springs Kingdom fight the spirit beasts back. Those spirit masters actually decided to turn tail and run away. Fatty Chu's eyes were filled with disdain as he saw those spirit masters leaving. If you didn't know Yunqi personally, would you continue to stay here? Wei Ziqi hit the nail on the head. Fatty Chu touched his nose, saying, there are so many spirit beasts. If not for the fact that Yunqi has helped Sima Yu so much, how would we stay here? It's not like we're experts or anything. Fatty Chu, Ziqi, Bei Gong, Ouyang Fei, if you all really have to fight, fight on top of your spirit beasts. Do not do it in person. If you are unable to hold the spirit beasts back, do not push on. You have to retreat, do you understand? Sima Yu ordered. We understand. Fatty Chu said, our goal is to accompany you to save your grandfather, not to send ourselves to our deaths here. Bei Gong Tang and Ouyang Fei nodded their heads. Sima Yu looked towards the direction of Sophia Mountain Range and muttered, why do I have a bad feeling about this? The spirit beasts below made no movement and those on the wall did not dare to make a move either. However, there were some daring ones that sat down, leaned on the wall and slept. Wang Lei heard what Bai Yunqi had said and looked over at Sima Yu and the others. After that, he sent men to fly over to try to initiate contact with the spirit beasts who were temporarily in charge. However, those saint beasts merely opened their eyes to take a look before continuing to shut them, remaining silent the entire time. Those who had been sent over to initiate contact saw that the other party had no reaction and did not dare to force it, so had no choice but to turn around and fly back. Looks like these spirit beasts have made up their mind. They refuse to move or say anything until that spirit beast arrives. Bei Gong Tang said when she saw that those who had been sent to negotiate had turned back in defeat. I have no idea what the reason is, that is actually able to cause these spirit beasts to do something this extreme. Wei Ziqi said as he looked at Sophia Mountain Range. No matter what it is, it definitely isn't anything good. Fatty Chu said, you all tell me, would it be because of the boss of the Sophia Mountain Range? Or else, how could so many saint beasts come? If that really is the case, we're in trouble. I'm afraid that even the whole of Three Springs City would be unable to hold it back. Wei Ziqi said. No matter what, I think that we will know the reason why soon. Sima Yu said when she saw the sky far away begin to change. Look at the sky above Sophia Mountain Range. Someone called out. Everyone turned their attention towards the sound of that cry and everyone looked towards the Sophia Mountain Range. The remaining bits of the sunset had disappeared in a side of the mountain, however, this was not the cause of everyone's surprise. It was because of the black clouds that were quickly forming. Why would black clouds suddenly appear? Is it going to rain? How could that be? Something has definitely occurred in Sophia Mountain Range. What could have possibly happened that would result in this? A sudden overcast sky filled with black clouds, could it be some kind of omen? While everyone was speculating, the black clouds were becoming thicker and thicker, however, not a single drop of rain fell. Sun Lili saw the black clouds on top of Sophia mountain range and her eyes flashed with disbelief. Brother Lei, could this be? Wang Lei's heart was filled with the same amount of shock as he knew what Sun Lili was going to say, replying, I really hope is not as we think. If not, sigh. This was the first time that Fatty Chu had seen this kind of occurrence and subconsciously grabbed onto Wei Ziqi's arm, saying, what could this possibly be? Why can I feel a terrifying amount of strength from that inside that black cloud? Sima Yu called Little Roar out. The moment Little Roar saw the black cloud, he immediately called out, Saint Beast transformation. What do you mean by Saint Beast transformation? Fatty Chu asked. Little Roar did not float beside Sima Yu as he always did, but stuffed himself into her embrace before explaining, when spirit beasts pass the rank of Saint Beast, they can change into human appearances. However, wanting to do so requires them to undergo the baptism of heaven, a tribulation. They have to be struck by lightning a few times. If they can handle it, they will be able to change into the appearance of humans. And if they can't handle it? Fatty Chu asked. If they are unable to hold on, they will turn into ashes. SSS-. Fatty Chu was shocked by this turn of events and looked towards the thick black cloud, asking, will every beast that surpasses Saint Beast experience this? Little Roar rolled his eyes, saying, of course not. Only those who want to turn into humans will experience this kind of thunder. This is something that those who want to transform, choose for themselves. If they do not wish to turn into people, they will not go through this. Those who surpassed Saint Beast will stir up the natural laws when they want to turn into human, causing this thunder. Then they will not have to go through this as long as they do not want to turn human. Then why do these sacred rank beasts want to choose this route? Wei Ziqi did not understand. Once the transformation is successful, that spirit beast will experience much glory and honor in the spirit beast world. Furthermore, it will be easier to cultivate than in beast form. As a result, many who surpass Saint Beast rank will choose to transform. Of course, there are those who do not wish to do so. Little Roar explained. Then those sacred rank beasts deserve to be praised. Fatty Chu sighed, guys, look at that black cloud. We tremble just by looking at it. Who knows whether or not we'll be hit by that when the time comes. It truly is a cause for praise. Sima Yu said, however, what I'm worried about is whether or not this really has anything to do with the spirit beast tide. Yu, why do you say this? Sima Yu could feel the strength hidden within the black cloud and muttered, a feeling. The black cloud on the top of Sophia mountain range got denser and denser. There would be occasional bolts of lightning that appeared. However, they were not too big. Those on the wall could not tear their eyes away from the things that were occurring on Sophia mountain range. The spirit beasts below the wall also turned around to look over. There were a few lower-ranked spirit beasts that were so frightened, they huddled on the ground shivering uncontrollably. Sima Yu saw it roll non-stop, and saw a bit of red in the middle. She cried out, it's coming. Just as she spoke, a torrent of lightning rained down. It was as if it grew eyes, and directly shot down towards an area below the mountain. Previous chapter. Crackle. Even though they were standing at the top of the city wall, everyone could feel the power contained in that flash of lightning. Just when they thought about what that Ultra Saint Beast would use to avoid that lightning, a human figure jumped out of the mountain, facing the front of the lightning bolt. Boom. The figure's arm and the lightning hit each other directly, as many people closed their eyes immediately. Fatty Chu opened his eyes wide and saw that human figure. He slapped his mouth, swallowed his saliva and said, that person is the sacred beast that just transformed? Yes, I can still feel the spirit of a beast in him. Little Roar said. Sima Yu lifted her hand and poked Little Roar, dog nose. You can smell it even when it is so far. My sense of smell is even stronger than those dog spirits. Little Roar complained unsatisfactorily. Sima Yu looked at Sophia mountain range. She was extremely shocked, being able to confront the lightning directly meant that the sacred beast's strength was extremely powerful. Very soon, a second bolt of lightning came crashing down again. It contained a little more power as compared to the first time. That sacred beast chose to tackle it straight, yet again, crushing that lightning with its hands. Damn it, this fellow is too powerful. If I run into him, there definitely would be no chance of survival. Fatty Chu held his chest, afraid that his heart would run right out of his chest. She did not know why, but seeing this sacred beast that passed through by force, Sima Yu thought of the human-looking beast that was with Wu Lingyu. Did it also experience the same kind of terrifying experience? Thoughts swirled around in her head, why would she suddenly think of that person? Not long after the second lightning struck, a third one crashed down again. The super sacred beast directly confronted the first 3 lightning strikes. Although he was not weak, the damage done was not light. 3 lightning bolts struck, but the dark clouds didn't show signs of dissipation. Instead they grew thicker and thicker in the air. Little Roar squinted both eyes, and said, the bloodline of that sacred beast is not weak. How do you know? Fatty Chu asked. Although every transforming beast will experience this kind of lightning calamity, there are actually different kinds. The more powerful the bloodline, the stronger the lightning tribulation. These first 3 lightning bolts were already quite strong and able to strike the common beasts behind the sacred beast. Despite that, the clouds are still thickening, meaning that the lightning bolts that are coming after are going to be even stronger. Little Roar said, I'm curious about the original form of that transformed beast. I am very curious as well. Sima Yu said. However, I also hope that it has nothing to do with the current beast tide, otherwise we are in danger. Wei Ziqi said. There's no point thinking about it now. Ouyang Fei grabbed his sword, looked into the distance and said, no matter what, we are here now, there are so many beasts outside, even if you want to find a way out it is impossible. Let's see, whether a blessing, a curse, or a disaster, we can't hide from it. Bei Gongtang said. After a long while, the tribulation cloud threw out yet another lightning bolt. This time, everyone felt that the bolt was much more powerful than the ones before. The moment that the lightning struck down, the whole earth shook. How many lightning bolts have been shot? 9 of them. Every 3 bolts of lightning counts as a small tribulation, the difference in strength is little, but 3 small tribulations multiply in strength. Little Roar said, this sacred beast's power has already faced the first 6 bolts of lightning without problem. It is just that we do not know if it can survive the last 3 bolts of lightning. Many get wiped by the last 3 bolts of lightning. After hearing what Little Roar said, several people's hearts were lifted, the previous bolts of lightning were already so powerful. Who knows how the last 3 bolts would be like? Upon breaking apart the 5th bolt of lightning, that sacred beast accepted the baptism from the lightning tribulation, letting the lightning strike his own body. Many people saw the transformation of an sacred beast for the first time. Seeing him accepting that bolt of lightning, they asked, why didn't he run away? This transformation lightning tribulation cannot be avoided. This dark cloud has already targeted him, so no matter where he runs to, that lightning will still strike him down. Even if you manage to turn into a corner, you will still be found out in the end, that lightning can turn around faster than you. Little Roar said. This transformation lightning tribulation was originally formed because of the transformation of the transcendent saint beast, it would target his chi. What if someone went to help him get through this tribulation? Like if there was a lightning rod nearby, wouldn't it attract the lightning directly? Sima Yu said. You are so stupid, this is in fact a transformation lightning tribulation, not a regular lightning, it will only strike the transforming beast, it will not strike your lightning rod. Little Roar turned his back and said, if anyone bravely went to help, the power of the lightning would double. At that time, it will not be helping him out, but adding on to his burdens. Then in the future, if you all transform, would be unable to assist you all? Sima Yu asked. Little Roar realized now that she was worried for them, and his heart was warm as he said, if we transform, you can do it with us, but others will not be able to. Our contractual relationship allows for this. The sacred beast also allowed the last 3 jolts of the lightning tribulation to strike it directly, for a long time there was not even a little reaction. Just as everyone thought that he had already been wiped out by the lightning tribulation the night before, a horrifying pressure came from the Sophia Mountains. The rest of the beasts prostrated to the ground and saluted, facing the Sophia Mountain range. Even Little Roar came out from Sima Yu's embrace and faced that direction, bowing slightly. Little Roar, why did you bow to it? Fatty Chu looked at Little Roar. Can it be he also got intimidated by the pressure? Little Roar raised his head, returned to Sima Yu's arms and said, this is to show the successfully transformed sacred beast a form of respect. That pressure slowly dissipated, as a light of advancement shone from the Sophia mountain range. Wow, this fellow actually managed to get a promotion after experiencing the transformation lightning tribulation. Little Roar saw the light of advancement, and could not help but burst into foul language. Once the light of advancement disappeared, the long night had also passed as the sky has started turning white. In this night, everyone was too shocked. The power of nature, combined with the power of the sacred beast, caused them to have a lingering fear. As if the thunder and lightning still echoed in their ears, and the sky above their heads would explode any time. Everyone's heart thumped with anxiety. If this beast war and the sacred beast were linked, there would be a catastrophe in Three Springs City. Brother Lei, what should we do now? Sun Lili looked at Wang Lei with worry. Wang Lei looked at the beasts below and said, no matter what, I am the ruler of Three Springs City, naturally I will remain with Three Springs City. As for the people, the women and children should have been evacuated. As for those spirit masters that wants to leave, let them go. As for what happens in the end, let it be as heaven wills. After hearing that it was possible to leave, many spiritual masters retreated directly from the wall. However, before they got far, a heavy pressure came pressing from behind, causing all of them to fall to the ground. It is here. The people on the city walls saw a figure quickly land here from Sophia Mountains. That figure was that sacred beast. They only saw the lone figure flying towards them at a very fast pace. Sima Yu and the rest had ridden on spirit beasts and took almost half a day to travel from Sophia Mountain Range to Three Spring City, but they felt that this sacred beast only took a few breaths of time to appear in front of them. The sacred beast was standing midair as it leaned over and looked at the people standing on the top of the city walls. His eyes stopped at Sima Yu's for a while, before finally falling on Wang Lei. Wang Lei felt an unprecedented pressure falling on himself, as he quickly adjusted and shifted the aura in his body to ease the pressure on him. He said with difficulty, I do not know what your honor has come to Three Spring City for. You are the city lord of Three Springs City? The sacred beast spoke with a cold voice that echoed with resonance. That's right. Wang Lei admitted. Do you know what sin you humans have committed? The sacred beast reprimanded. Wang Lei looked at the sacred beast with puzzled eyes and said, I do not know who has enraged your honor, but can your honor please state it explicitly? The sacred beast looked at Wang Lei, eyes solemn. He increased his pressure and although Wang Lei persistently braced himself, it had no effect and he went down to one knee. A large drop of sweat slid down his cheek and fell on the blue stone. Sun Li saw her own husband being pushed down by the pressure of the force, and she went forward, bearing the pressure together with him. She looked at the sacred beast and said, "We really do not know who has offended your honor, and request that your honor tell us. We will see to the matter straight away." The sacred beast looked at Sun Li, raised his hands and sucked in a breath. She flew right into his hands. Li. Wang Lo saw Li being captured, grit his teeth and stood up. "Ant!" Bai Yunqi shouted, leaping towards the sacred beast, about to attack it. Humph! The sacred beast humphed and Bai Yunqi was stunned and lost his balance, falling towards the herd of beasts below. Yunqi! Young master! The people on the top of the city wall were pressed down and couldn't move from the pressure of the cold groan, only able to watch Bai Yunqi falling towards the bottom. If he fall into the herd of beasts, then what would left was, he would be left with nothing but bones. Suddenly, a figure jumped off the city wall. When Bai Yunqi was only 10 meters away from the ground, she caught him. She held on to his waist, bringing him back to the top of the city walls. Bai Yunqi looked at Sima Yu's perfect side face and said, "You have saved me once again." Sima Yu put Bai Yunqi on the top of the city wall and said, "Being rash is not a way to solve problems." The sacred beast did not expect that there would still be someone able to move under his pressure. He put his attention on her again. "You can actually ignore the pressure of this deity?" The sacred beast was not angry, but was in fact fascinated with her. Sima Yu looked at the sacred beast. She had no fear in her eyes, smiled and said, "We have already seen the honor's strength last night, you do not have the need to use your pressure to control everybody, I think that nobody would dare to be rash in front of you. You have not answered your honor's question." The sacred beast looked at Sima Yu and said, "I have encountered many horrifying pressures, and am considered to be immune to this already." Sima Yu shrugged, not sure if this kind of answer is acceptable. The sacred beast stared at Sima Yu for a few seconds. He did not know why this tiny human gave him a sense of threat. However, he still kept away his own pressure. After all, the spirit beasts below were also pressured until they were unable to breathe. Feeling that their bodies were lifted from the pressure, everybody took a deep breath of the fresh air again. "Your honor, we really do not know what has offended you, to the extent that you have to muster such a large force. Even if you have captured Madam, we still do not know the reason. I think that you allowed the spirit beast to surround Three Spring City without attacking, perhaps because you do not want to kill the innocent. How about you let Madam go, and then tell us the reason you are angry, then we would know very well what to do." Sima Yu saw Sun Li's face turning pale. If he applied an ounce of strength, she would lose her life. 10 days ago, you humans stole something of importance from Sophia Mountains. The sacred beast said, "At that time, I was preparing for my transformation, so I had no choice but to let him succeed." After hearing what he said, everyone had only one thought, no wonder. Wang Lei looked at the sacred beast and said, "I wonder what that is. Is that item still possibly in Three Springs City? If those people have already left with that item, we have no way of chasing them either." The sacred beast was also not a bad one. Even at his level, he did not want to give the humans trouble. He threw Sun Li back and said, "That item is still in Three Spring City, I can still smell it here." Wang Lei rose and caught Sun Li. Hearing him saying this, he was very relieved and said, "Please let us know specifically what it is, I will send men to look for it. I have dropped a feather before." The sacred beast said coldly, causing everyone to break out in cold sweat because of the person who stole it. How dare he steal a feather of an sacred beast, was that not like pinching the tiger's butt? Wang Lei also understood why was the sacred beast so agitated. The fallen feathers of a bird species were very cherished. Now that it had been stolen, it was a great insult to him. "I will send men to find the person who stole it." "No need," the sacred beast said. He closed his eyes and felt something, after which, he lifted his hands towards the city and sucked from within the city. A person was sucked out from the ground. A member from the domineering army. The people on the city wall recognized the attire the person was wearing, and shouted in surprise. That's right, domineering army was also doing missions in the mountains earlier. Who would have thought that they would dare to steal a feather from a sacred beast? They have really a lot of guts. This person is in deep trouble. Hey, anyway, domineering army does not really have any good people. I look forward to the end of that person. The person who got caught is already scared out of his wits. He did not expect that picking up some feathers from a cave could get him into this cursed situation. After seeing the killing intent from the eyes of the sacred beast, he knew that he would not come to a good end. Your honor, I did not know that this was your feather, I did not intentionally offend of your honor, please forgive me, your honor." The sacred beast ignored him, taking off his interspatial ring and gently pinched it. That space ring shattered into pieces. A few feathers flashed a faint light blue as they floated in the air. The remaining things fell to the floor. Haha, there's actually a woman's underwear. Little Roar could not help but laugh out loud when he saw the things that fell to the floor. No matter whether man or beast, they was extremely quiet right now, so Little Roar's laughter was extremely prominent. However, it was exactly as he said. Everyone really saw a few pieces of women underwear. Sima Yu saw the feathers that were glowing a faint blue and said, "Why do I feel that these feathers look a bit familiar?" "I think so as well." Bei Gong Tang said, "Not good." The sacred beast found his own feather, and threw the man straight down. The spirit beasts below would naturally take care of him well. He glanced at his own feather and suddenly became agitated, emitting a pressure that pressed everyone on the top of the city wall to the ground. Why is it a feather short? Can't breathe. A few of the people who were relatively weaker had directly fainted in the face of the pressure exerted by the sacred beast. Why is it one feather short? It was not only the men below who were complaining endlessly in their hearts, but even the sacred beast could not understand. He had clearly felt that feather in that person's interspatial ring and nothing else. However, where had that one feather gone? Many of them felt that it was hard to escape death this day. Oh my, isn't this the feather I took that day to stoke the fire? Little Roar's sentence caused Sima Yu to feel like killing him. The spirit pressure was completely useless against Little Roar as he moved his body. Directly after, a rod that had been completely burnt so black appeared in his hand. The moment that rod appeared, it released a faint blue light. It looked the same as the feather just now. Wei Ziqi and the others wanted to roll their eyes and faint. Why else would they say that the furs of that sacred beast was so familiar? Little Roar took the feather and flew over to the sacred beast and stood in front of him. He took the feather and gave it to him, saying, "Handsome brother, I return this feather to you." I didn't know that it was yours and gave it to my family's Yu to stoke the fire. Since you are so handsome, don't be so calculative about a feather or two. When the people below heard what Little Roar said, it was as if they had been struck by lightning. That was the feather of an sacred beast, okay. It was actually used to stoke fire. What kind of thing was this? Seeing that the sacred beast's face was growing more and more solemn, he was actually still able to tease him. He really did not want to live anymore. Sima Yu stretched forth a hand to cover her eyes. This really was too embarrassing. Little Roar saw that the sacred beast didn't accept his explanation and only stared at him coldly, so he stretched forth a paw to rub the fur on his forehead, saying, "I know I'm really handsome, you don't have to look at me like that. I'll become shy." Although it was really inappropriate right now, Ouyang Fei and the others still could not help but laugh. This guy, he previously toyed with Thousand Resonance's wife, and now was toying with a sacred beast. He really was hard to swallow regardless of one's gender. The sacred beast looked at the feather that used to be full of feathers and looked again at narcissistic Little Roar as he pursed his lips, "Using my feather to stoke a fire, excellent, excellent. I didn't say that, right? I didn't know it was your feather. Aren't I innocent because I didn't know? Since you burnt my feathers, I will burn you." Little Roar saw that he wasn't lying, so he threw aside the feather in his hand and turned on his heels to fly towards Sima Yu. "Yu, save me." Sima Yu resisted the urge to roll her eyes. The opponent was an sacred beast and they could not even defeat a single finger of his. What was the point of telling her to save him? A flame appeared in the hand of the sacred beast. He threw it lightly and it flew towards Little Roar. Little Roar felt the heat coming closer and closer behind him and he turned his head back as the ball of flame flew towards him. It scared him so much that he turned an entire round and returned back to his original place. He never thought that the flame would follow after him, turning as well, continuing to chase him. Oh mummy, that thing can even turn. It was obviously a very dangerous situation, however, the people below felt as if they were watching a play. Especially Little Roar, who was running while calling out. Adding on to that his cute appearance, it really made them unable to hold back a smile. Little Roar saw that he could not avoid the flame and cried out in the air, "Yu, boss, save me. If you don't do anything, I'll turn into roast pork, already." Sima Yu was helpless. Although this guy brought her an endless amount of trouble, he was still her spirit beast. You could bully your own people, but others were not allowed. Seeing that Sima Yu was going to step up, Bai Yunqi pulled her, saying, "That's a sacred beast." Sima Yu lightly slapped Bai Yunqi's hand away, saying, "Little Roar is a member of my family." After she finished speaking, she rose and flew towards Little Roar. Spiritual chi gathered on her hand, quickly charging towards the ball of flame. Little Roar saw Sima Yu and quickly threw himself in her embrace, saying, "Yu, if you continue to not help me, I would be burnt into a crisp." Sob sob sob. Sima Yu originally intended to teach him a lesson, telling him not to be so rude and impetuous all the time. However, seeing that the furs on his buttocks had been burnt off slightly, her heart ached a little. If it wasn't because she was weak, Little Roar would not be a spirit beast without any battle abilities. No matter what, he was an ancient divine beast. It was no problem for him to defeat an sacred beast. Everyone was shocked that she had stepped up to directly confront the flame from the sacred beast. There was no one who thought that she would be able to dissipate the flame. However, the sacred beast's flame had truly been dissipated by her. The sacred beast saw that Sima Yu had actually dissipated his flame and became even more angry. He quickly produced even more balls of flame. Bang, bang bang dash. Sima Yu directly used the flame to wrap her hands and beat apart the sacred beast's flame one by one. SS When did you use flame become so terrifying? I can feel a terrifying kind of temperature emanating from her flame. That the sacred beast's flame can be dissipated. What kind of origins does this guy have? Wei Ziqi and the other four exchanged glances. Even they did not know that Sima Yu's flame was actually terrifying to this degree. This is no ordinary flame. Bei Gong Tang said confidently. The flame that she normally used was condensed from her own spiritual chi, or it was Guang's flame. However, the one that she was using today was not the one she usually used. Good job Yu. Sima Yu turned over to glare at him and he immediately shut up. The look in her eyes told him that she would directly throw him out if he didn't keep quiet. The sacred beast looked at Sima Yu. The flame in her hands gave him a kind of pressure. It was actually able to pressure the steady flame inside of him. What kind of flame is it? Sima Yu moved her fingers. Once it met his flame, she knew that the flames she used earlier would be useless. That was why she added in a bit of crimson's flame to her own flame the moment she started. It was just a bit, but was enough to dissipate the sacred beast's flame. This caused her to be slightly surprised. Little Roar really did not know that it was your feather at that time and already apologized to you. He even asked you to be magnanimous. Forgive him. Humph, forgive him? Everyone who offends me must die. As his master, you must die as well. You are able to remain unafraid of my pressure, and are able to suppress my flame. However, I possess more than this. After he finished speaking, his hands moved twice in the air as a hurricane slowly formed from behind him. Sima Yu saw the hurricane coming from behind the sacred beast and directly through Little Roar into the spirit pagoda. That hurricane felt extremely dangerous to her. If she was sucked into it, all the bones in her body would definitely break. Who knows, she may even be torn apart until not a single bit of her would be left. She also realized that the sacred beast was not bloodthirsty like the rest of them. Although the air that was brought by the hurricane had become a bit difficult, it was barely contained in the higher regions and the men and beasts on the ground were all not affected. Looks like our only option is to run. Sima Yu glanced over at Wei Ziqi and the others and they understood her meaning immediately. There were spirit beasts everywhere within the Sophia mountain range and they would definitely listen to him. As a result, she flew towards the opposite direction. Trying to run? More than wanting to kill her, he wanted to find out what kind of flame it was that caused even him to be afraid. Wei Ziqi saw that they all started running and chased after her as well. Little ant, I'll go take a look as well. Hey, you. Thinking of how there were so many spirit beasts below the wall, they were unable to leave anyway and could only helplessly watch them disappear. These few people are so fast. There were some spirit masters who shouted in surprise when they noticed the speed of which those few people flew off. Look you guys, the spirit beasts are retreating. The spirit masters on the wall no longer paid attention to Sima Yu and the others when they heard that cry, all turning instead to look at the spirit beasts. It's true, the spirit beasts at the foot of the mountain have all turned back. Why have those spirit beasts all turned back? The event was so major, but it's over just like that? There were many spirit masters who felt cheated after watching the scene play out before their eyes. It was as if they heard someone beating the drum, calling out to watch for the show and went over just to see someone singing a single song before the show was over. Sun Li and Wang Lei saw the spirit beasts retreat and let out a long sigh in their hearts. The spirit beasts had spent 1 to 2 days here after arriving. Wang Lei saw the last group of spirit beasts return to the Sophia mountain range and waved to the spirit masters on the wall, saying, "Thank you everyone for your assistance this time. Although there was no battle in the end, all remunerations agreed upon earlier will definitely be given to you." Everyone was glad when they heard what Wang Lei said. They thought that they would receive no remuneration since there was no battle. You all should continue to protect the city gate. We don't know whether or not the beast riot is really over. Aside from that, close the gates for 3 days. Nobody is allowed to enter or leave during this period of time. City Lord, please. The beast tide has just retreated. I ask for everyone to stay in Three Springs City for a few more days. No problem. I deeply thank everyone for this. The beast tide had retreated and Three Springs City regained the peace after the anxious state it was in after 3 to 4 days. As for Sima Yu's side, she had flown away from Three Springs City and kept flying straight no matter what. Wei Ziqi and the 5-man team followed after them. Yu is really quick. There's no trace of him at all. Shortly after leaving Three Springs City, Wei Ziqi and the others called out a divine vulture and let everyone ride on its back to chase after Sima Yu and the others. I never thought that Wei Ziqi would actually have a bird like the divine vulture. Bai Yunqi called out as he sat on top of it with the others. Seeing Sima Yu and the rest disappear, Wei Ziqi and the others did not panic at all. Although the might of a sacred beast was similar to a divine spirit master, it was her territory. Sima Yu continued to fly straight and had no idea how long she had been flying for. The hurricane continued to remain as the sacred beast sat on top of it, sitting on top of it to chase her. When the time came, it would be so much fun to tear apart this prey. Damn it all, he's actually still chasing me. She stopped and turned around. Seeing that the sacred beast and slowly coming closer, both hands quickly knotted together as a flame sword appeared in front of her. Damn it, I'm not running anymore. The sacred beast felt crimson flame's heat and dodged it. Dash. The flame sword chopped the hurricane squarely in the middle, however, the hurricane came back together immediately. The moment she entered the hurricane, Sima Yu felt that the pressure wanting to tear her apart was even stronger and her 4 limbs felt as if they were going to be ripped off. She was unable to breathe and her entire body hurt. It was the first time she had ever She wanted to enter her spirit pagoda, but she suddenly realized that her spirit pagoda had no reaction, as if the door to it was blocked. Damn! She cursed loudly in her heart as she tried her best to envelope herself in her aura in order to fight against the enormous pressure. The sacred beast never thought that Sima Yu would be able to persevere inside the hurricane for such a long time as the 5 fingers on his left hand pinched together. The hurricane followed his movements as its center narrowed. Yu. Wei Ziqi and the others met this scene the moment they rushed. The sacred beast waved his hand as a gust of wind flew directly at the 5-man team. I already let you all off, but you came here seeking your deaths. I'll deal with you all after I'm done with her. The hurricane was getting smaller and smaller as Sima Yu felt that she was slowly being squashed. The difference in power between a spirit overlord and sacred beast was not just a star and a half. My stomach is going to explode if this carries on. When that time comes, my intestines will all flow out. Damn it, I must not die in such an ugly way. Just as she was thinking about this in her heart, she suddenly felt that something had entered her brain. After that, her body was lifted and the gust of wind pressuring her was dispersed. She landed heavily on the ground. This is... Everyone saw Sima Yu emerge from the hurricane and let out a breath. When they saw the faint silhouette, everyone was incredibly shocked. Sima Yu raised her head and saw a faint silhouette standing in front of her. Master? The figure smiled faintly at Sima Yu before it immediately disappeared in the air. That was... Soul imprint. Bei Gongtang said in shock. What is a soul imprint? Fatty Chu asked. That is something that allows a divine-leveled expert to bring out a part of his soul and place it on someone else. At that time, when the person encounters a life-threatening situation, that soul imprint will react and attack on its own. Bei Gong Tang explained. Sima Yu was able to come out of the hurricane because Master Feng's soul imprint rescued her? Wei Ziqi guessed. Sima Yu sensed around for a bit and felt that the silhouette that Feng Zhixing had placed in her mind previously had grown much fainter. It must be because it had just been used up. Thinking about the care that Feng Zhixing had towards her, the sacred beast looked at Sima Yu with confusion. He never thought that a divine ranked expert would actually leave behind his soul imprint in her body. He smiled and said, even if you have a soul imprint, it saved you only once. However, the soul imprint can't be used too quickly after that. I'll see what else you can do. After speaking, he flipped over his left hand. Following his movement, Sima Yu felt as if a mountain had landed on her body, pressing her down so hard all the bones in her body were creaking. How does it feel to be pressured by a mountain? Master, let us come out. The opponent is an sacred beast. You all are divine beasts. If you come out, his pressure will be extremely forceful on you. Why would I let you all out? Because she could not contact the spirit pagoda, everyone inside could not see Sima Yu's condition. Sob, it's all my fault. If not for what I said, we would not have provoked the sacred beast. You would not be injured, then. Little Roar cried out in the spirit pagoda. I just to exert a little bit more pressure and your life will be forfeit. He didn't know why, but seeing Sima Yu so stubborn made him a bit uncomfortable and he lost interest in toying with her. He said, let's end it. He even tried to exert a bit more pressure. However, he realized that a kind of power was coming out from Sima Yu's body, fighting against him. He increased his strength but was pushed back, causing him to retreat by more than a few tens of meters. Bang dash. The formless mountain was lifted, as a power even more terrifying than the sacred beasts emanated from Sima Yu's body. The sacred beast was standing firm as he felt that pressure, then he suddenly lost all control and his entire body ended up on the ground. It was as if he suddenly could not fight back. What kind of pressure was this? What kind of bird is this? When the sacred beast was pressured, the pressure he was exerting on Wei Ziqi and the others disappeared and the five of them regained their freedom again. Bei Gong Tang quickly got up from the ground and ran beside Sima Yu. Seeing her entire body spread out on the ground, her heart hurt so much that her eyes turned red. Screech dash. The sacred beast was pressured and called loudly to Sima Yu. His wings continued to flap as he wanted to fight against the pressure and stand up. A really great four-eyed bird, even my master feels moved. Who are you? A golden ray of light flashed as an ugly egg came out from Sima Yu's body and flew over directly, smashing the ultra beast maliciously. Bang dash. The four-eyed bird's large body was smashed away by an egg. Fatty Chu and the others watched the change in scenario with eyes open wide. The four-eyed bird egg was completely frozen in shock when he saw the egg, Crimson Flame. He didn't resist even a little bit even when he was beaten. Never thought that the sacred beast's original form was a four-eyed bird. No wonder he did not ruthlessly slaughter everyone when he was at Three Springs City. Wei Ziqi said. The ancient books recorded that the four-eyed bird was a kind of fowl whose cry was similar to a phoenix. It was very righteous and would assist mankind in fending off wolves and other predators. It was a kind of righteous spirit beast. If it wasn't for the fact that they encountered him and encountered other birds instead, Three Springs City would not have been able to escape. What is this egg? Bai Yunqi was even more curious about Crimson Flame's status. However, no matter how he looked, it was just an ugly egg. He could not tell what its identity was at all. Ouyang Fei looked at Wei Ziqi. He was a beast tamer master and was more well versed in spirit beasts than he was. Wei Ziqi shook his head. He was unable to tell what species that spirit beast that egg belonged to either. Crimson Flame beat the four-eyed bird a few more times. Each time, they heard an extremely heavy pounding sound. However, the four-eyed bird did not react at all. After he had beaten him enough, Crimson Flame returned to Sima Yu's side again. Seeing her current state, he looked extremely dissatisfied. You, move away. Crimson Flame said to Bei Gong Tang. Bei Gong Tang did not know what Crimson Flame wanted to do, however, since he was Sima Yu's spirit beast, he would definitely not harm her. As such, she stood up and moved away. Crimson Flame made as if to pounce on Sima Yu, but disappeared the moment he landed on her. After that, her body suddenly emitted flames, enveloping her entire body. When the four-eyed bird saw that flame, he started to tremble even more. Bei Gong Tang and the others could not stand the heat and retreated far back before continuing to monitor her condition. The temperature of that flame is really high. This should be the flame that suppressed the sacred beast. Ouyang Fei said. The rank of this flame is definitely really high. How else would that sacred beast be so afraid? I say, do you all know what it is? Don't ignore my question. The four of them shook their heads simultaneously, saying, we didn't know that Sima Yu had contracted this beast as well. This is our first time seeing it. What is that flame that is enveloping Sima Yu doing? All the bones on her body are broken. We have to take her quickly to heal up. I think he should be healing Yu. Bei Gong Tang guessed. I think so as well. Bai Yunqi said, since we are unable to go close to that flame, we can only wait here. Everyone had sustained injuries just now, so they could only sit down to recover. They never expected that they would have to wait 3 days. 3 days later, that flame slowly became fainter. It seemed as if it was going to extinguish soon. For the entire 3 days, Sima Yu was enveloped in that fire. They thought that she was unconscious, but she remained conscious the entire time. While she was conscious, she felt the fire reform every single part of her bones. Bones. The previous time that she was in the Puluo mountain range cave, Crimson Flame had used his fire to reform her meridians. This time, he was using his fire to reform her bones. The bones that were reformed were as solid as refined spiritual chi. If she had once again encountered the same situation that happened 3 days ago, her bones would not be broken so easily. 3 days later, Crimson Flame finished reforming her and slowly retrieved his own flame. You should first put on some clothes. Sima Yu was completely well by now. Seeing her naked body, she took a new set of clothes and wore it. In the beginning, she could not control the flame. That was why her clothes had all been burnt off. After wearing her clothes properly, Sima Yu gave a thought and the flames engulfing her were extinguished. Yu. Bei Gong Tang and the others quickly ran over when they saw that the flames on Sima Yu's body had disappeared. Sima Yu thought of how they had been wounded by the sacred beast and asked, "How are you guys?" "We're all better now." Sima Yu moved her body and smiled, "All better." "Oh damn, Yu, what kind of flame is your flame that it's so mystical? What kind of spirit beast is that egg?" Bai Yunqi looked at Sima Yu in shock. Sima Yu shook her head and said quite helplessly, "I don't know what kind of spirit beast he is either. He never told me before." Everyone was left speechless by what she said. She didn't even know what kind of spirit beast she had. It was really only something she could do. At this time Crimson Flame came out from Sima Yu's body and flew in front of the four-eyed bird, who had remained creeping on the ground the entire time. "You know your sin." Crimson Flame's voice carried with it an inherent imposing tone, not withholding his anger. "I know my sin." The four-eyed bird answered softly with his head on the ground. "Little Roar offended you and you wanted his life. You hurt my owner, so take your own life." Crimson Flame said faintly. Wei Ziqi and the others all opened their mouths in shock. It sounded like he was going to kill him. The eyes of the four-eyed bird flashed with unwillingness. However, he did not dare to go against the orders given by this spirit beast. They did not know of his identity, but he did. Twitter dash. He raised his head and called out loudly and was going to take his own life. Wait a moment. Sima Yu spoke out and quickly flashed in front of the four-eyed bird, halting his actions. What's up? Crimson Flame asked. That, the four-eyed bird is not a cruel beast. He didn't indiscriminately kill humans, and also ascended to the level of sacred beast only after much difficulty. It would be too much of a waste to just let him die here. Sima Yu said. But he hurt you. Crimson Flame said angrily, if I did not sense that you were in danger and awoke from my deep sleep, you would be dead right now. Isn't that because Little Roar went to agitate him? It wasn't his fault at the beginning. Then how do you plan to settle it? Just let him go. It was not like she wanted to take revenge. It was just that the things that happened were not his fault at the beginning, especially after seeing the lightning he endured that night. She truly respected him in her heart. Someone who dared to live in the world of battle would always win the respect of others. The four-eyed bird never thought that Sima Yu would speak out on his behalf. He knew that if she was willing to let him go, he would be able to keep his life this day. Crimson Flame thought about it for a moment, saying, it's not like I can't let him go. Your power now is too weak and currently needs someone to protect you. Four-eyed bird, can you take her as your owner? Asking a sacred beast to recognize an owner? The spirit beasts in the spirit pagoda all burned with anger. Oh Yu, that guy wanted to kill you just now. You can't agree to this. However, if there is a sacred beast, Master's power would increase by quite a bit. In any case, we're just the hanging tail. Guang, who had just increased rank to divine beast, lay on the ground. However, his tone revealed that he was a little upset. For a spirit beast, his increase in rank was considered really quick. Using Sima Yu as a master to level, as well as having other spirit beasts she contracted with, he slowly increased rank from saint-ranked beast to a divine beast. Sima Yu looked at the four-eyed bird solemnly, saying, you don't have to follow me. My current mental ability does not allow me to contract another spirit beast. Furthermore, you're a sacred beast. I neither have the ability to tame you nor form a contract with you. Then let him take the initiative to accept you as his owner. Sima Yu shook her head, saying, having to take initiative to accept me as his master would be too much of a waste. If we use my method to form the contract, it would benefit both man and beast. It would be so much easier to increase in rank later on. You really? Crimson Flame was really speechless towards Sima Yu's ways of reasoning. Sima Yu stepped forward to pat the four-eyed bird's beak and took out a bottle of pills, saying, these are pills I refined. Little Roar and the others eat these when they are injured. I don't know whether or not these will be useful for you because you're a sacred beast, so you should eat a few more pills. After she finished speaking, she poured all the pills in the bottle and threw it into its beak. The pills dissolved in his mouth and the four-eyed bird looked blankly at Sima Yu. Sima Yu smiled, saying, you can go. The four-eyed bird looked towards Crimson Flame. He would not dare to leave without his consent. Crimson Flame thought about it for a moment, saying, follow her during the period that she is in the Yilin continent. Once she leaves this continent, if she has not contracted you, you would have regained your freedom. If she gets injured while she is in the Yilin continent, just wait. I'll turn you into roasted bird. After he finished speaking, he turned into a golden ray of light and entered in between Sima Yu's eyebrows and returned to the contracted space. Seeing that Crimson Flame was being such a, Sima Yu touched her nose. If you're unwilling, you don't have to bother with Crimson Flame. The four-eyed bird looked at Sima Yu. After a moment had passed, he finally said, I am willing to follow you. He meant that he would follow her for the time being. He was not saying that he would definitely recognize her as his master. If she was not good enough for him, he would definitely not choose her. Without Crimson Flame's pressure, the four-eyed bird assumed his human appearance again. Okay. Just like that, Sima Yu gained another sacred beast as a companion. This change caused the others to filled with hatred and envy. Right, what is your name? Sima Yu asked. She was not used to calling the people beside her using subordinate terms. Name? The four-eyed bird was stunned for a moment. It had been a long time since someone had called him by his name. Just call me Halcyon 1. One Misty Cloud translations, his name in Chinese is. I'm giving him this name as this is also a mythical bird which represents calm and tranquility which suits him for his sense of justice. Seeing that Sima Yu had settled at the things from just now, Wei Ziqi and the others walked over, saying, what shall we do now? Sima Yu looked at Bai Yunqi and said, should we go directly to Peace City? That, because of the previous beast tide, you have yet to obtain your identity cards. So we still have to return back and take them. Bai Yunqi said. Oh right, they completely forgot about that matter. Then we shall head to Three Spring City to take the identity cards before heading to Peace City. Sima Yu said. A group of people got on the Divine Vulture and headed to Three Spring City. Halcyon kept away his own aura and followed them and got on the Divine Vulture's back. When they returned to Three Spring City, the city gate was sealed shut. They saw that Halcyon and Bai Yunqi and the others had come back together and that Sima Yu and the others were all living fine, and were shocked out of their wits. He actually didn't die. Don't tell me something happened that completely turned the tides. That sacred beast has returned. Don't tell me that another beast tide is going to occur. I don't think so. See, he has returned with the young master. I hope this kind of things will never happen again. Because Halcyon was present, the Divine Vulture flew directly to the sky above the official residence. Wang Lei and Sun Lili knew from the beginning that someone great had come. As a result, they had long stood in the sky. Their hearts leapt the moment they saw them. Little aunt, uncle, we're back. When they reached the area above the official residence, everyone took their own place in the sky and Wei Ziqi got his Divine Vulture to return. When they saw that Sima Yu and Halcyon were together, Wang Lei and Sun Lili were extremely confused. However, they did not say anything and merely smiled, saying, since you all have come, let's talk down below. Guests, please. Halcyon looked at Sima Yu. Right now, she was considered his charge. He could have to follow her for these few years and obey her. Let's go. Sima Yu took the lead and flew down. Seeing the scene play out, Wang Lei and Sun Lili were extremely shocked. Initially, the sacred beast had nothing but killing intent for Sima Yu. Now, it looked as if he was his master. What exactly transpired in the events before this? They looked towards Bai Yunqi and he shook his head. He promised that he would never speak of him. When they came to the official residence, Wang Lei and the others brought Sima Yu and the others to the guest hall. Because Halcyon was present, Wang Lei and the others did not dare to sit in the seats meant for the head. Sima Yu and Halcyon sat on the highest seats on the left, while Wang Lei and his wife sat opposite them. Wei Ziqi and the others sat on the seats behind them in succession. City Lord, Madam, we came back this time to ask you about something. Have our identity cards been made? They've already been made. After saying this, a few nameplates appeared in her hands. A maid stepped forward and received the nameplates from her hands and distributed them to Sima Yu and the others. These nameplates have been made with barite. You will be able to see information about yourselves when you inject spirit power into it. Sima Yu and the others injected spirit power into it and a white light flashed. After that, a few words appeared in the air. It read, Sima Yu, citizen of Three Springs City. Residing in the official residence. Wei Ziqi and the others had similar information. They retracted their spirit powers and the words faded away. Having these things meant that they were now people with statuses. They kept away their identity cards. Wei Ziqi cupped his hands towards Wang Lei. Many thanks to the city lord and madam for making these things for us. We have yet to thank you for what you have done for Three Springs City. Sun Lili said, furthermore, you were originally Yunqi's friends and have saved him. Right, what are your plans from here on out? We will head to Peace City first and take a teleportation array to the North Country from there. Sima Yu said, we want to head over there to check out the situation first. Sun Lili nodded her head, saying, that is fine as well. First go and check out the situation in order to avoid anything untoward happening. So when do you plan to leave? As soon as possible. In such a rush? When the heart is trouble, it is best to settle it. That's fine as well. Your lordship is currently his guardian and will be following him for a few years. Halcyon replied. Sima Yu stood up and said, I thank the city lord and madam for our identity cards again. I take my leave. I take my leave. Bai Yunqi never thought that Sima Yu and the other would leave so quickly and was stunned for a bit before saying, little aunt, uncle, they will not be familiar with the situation over here. I will lead them. I will head to Peace City with them. Sun Lili glared at Bai Yunqi, saying, this guy never stays here for more than a few days when he is here. It's only been a few days but he plans to leave again. Don't I have something to do this time? Next time I'll definitely bring beautiful little aunt out to play for a few days, how about that? Bai Yunqi said while beaming. Didn't you say that the last time? Sun Lili came forward to pinch his cheeks, saying, you have no conscience. My Three Springs City is unable to keep you. Just go if you want to. Remember, next time you better not head to Sophia without first coming to greet me. I'll beat you black and blue. Do you understand? I got it, I got it. Bai Yunqi snatched his face out from Sun Lili's claws and left with Sima Yu and the others. Because the men from the Sand Gull army had already come back from doing a mission in Peace City, aside from Halcyon, there were only these 6 of them who were in the team returning. Coming to the Spirit Master Guild, the other part did not let them pay for anything else and did not need them to take out their identification cards before activating the teleportation array on for them. Thinking of the relationship that Bai Yunqi had with the city lord, this didn't feel weird at all. Seeing the familiar rays of light flash, Sima Yu sighed a little, saying, let's go. We will head to the next city. A group of them stood up stepped forward as the light shone more brilliantly. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared. Seeing that they had left, the men from the Spirit Master Union finally heaved a sigh of relief. They had actually gotten close to Thess Red Beast. Furthermore, that party had not even killed anyone. This short period of time had actually caused their lives to flash before their eyes. Sun Lili and Wang Lei stood in the building of the Spirit Master Guild. Seeing them leave, Sun Lili said with emotion, I initially thought that Sima Yu was an inauspicious character. Who would have thought that he actually managed to placate the other party? Didn't I say so earlier, that kid isn't the average kid? However, it's really strange how he managed to do that. Since Yunqi didn't say it, he must be helping them keep a secret. Since Sima Yu didn't do it on his own, it must be someone by his side who has helped him. No matter what, it's inconceivable. I really hope that he will be able to rescue his grandfather. He will. Last time, I felt that he would be able to do it. Now that he has an sacred beast by his side, chances of success are even higher. Peace City, West Moon Kingdom was the largest city aside from the capital. It was more than 100,000 kilometers from Three Springs City. Within Peace City were rows upon rows of buildings, with streets running all along. People came and went along the streets, it was bustling with activity and was extremely lively. The Spirit Master Guild was situated at the most bustling street, right in the center of the city. Being able to position itself here meant that it was the #1 influence of power in the entire West Moon Kingdom. Of course, the size of the guild would not be small. By the time Sima Yu and the others emerged from the Spirit Master Guild, it was already noon. The people on the streets came and went and it was even more lively than it was at Three Springs City. There are so many people in this city. Fatty Chu looked at the crowded streets and his drool was about to fall out of his mouth, especially when he saw the numerous beautiful women. Drool is about to drip out of your mouth. Wei Ziqi smiled and teased while giving him a slap on his head. Fatty Chu unknowingly stretched forth a hand to wipe his mouth. It was only when he realized that there was actually no saliva that he knew Wei Ziqi was just teasing him. Good on you, you actually made fun of me. Fatty Chu threw a punch at Wei Ziqi's shoulder. Bai Yunqi saw Fatty Chu and Wei Ziqi bickering and shouted at them, the two of you can continue fooling around. I'll bring them back first. Don't blame me if you guys can't find the place. The two of them, who were bickering with each other, stopped immediately and came back to their side. Yunqi, is the Sandgull Army's place far from here? Sima Yu asked. Not far, you'll reach after turning a few streets. It's no wonder this street is so bustling. Fatty Chu nodded his head while speaking. The flow of customers every day can be said to number tens of thousands. And that's just this street. It's really bustling. Because it wasn't far, they had no need to sit on a beast cart and decided to walk there. Every single shop was bustling and filled to the brim with customers. Sima Yu's attention was taken completely by large closed door standing in front of a house at the roadside. Ugly person. This name is really strange. Others stopped as well when they saw that Sima Yu had stopped. What is this place? Why are there so few people? Wei Ziqi asked. This is an auction. It only opens in the afternoon and night, that's why it's relatively quieter. Bai Yunqi explained. Only operates in the afternoons and nights? This auction is really peculiar. Fatty Chu said. This is Yilan Continent's largest auction, where each of the 4 empires have more than a few shares. Although it only operates in the afternoons and nights, its profits are much higher than other places. Bai Yunqi said. That awesome? Of course, this place contains many things that you can't find outside. That's why many people come here. This place usually sells things but holds an auction on the last third of every month. It also holds additional auctions if there's any particularly important item. I've never been in an auction before in my entire life. When will we be able to experience it? Fatty Chu looked at Sima Yu and the others while asking. No problem, it will be great even just to increase in knowledge. Wei Ziqi said. There should be an auction happening sometime within these few days. If you want to participate, we can wait a few days before leaving. Bai Yuqi only said this after he made some mental calculations. Sima Yu glanced at Ouyang Fei and Bei Gong Tang and realized the two of them appeared quite excited, so she said, then we can stay here for a few days. We'll go after the auction has concluded. Okay. The few of them walked for half an hour before reaching the end of that street. Nobody thought that that stretch would be so long. It was comparable to a city in Dongchen Kingdom. They walked to the end of the road and turned a corner before realizing that there were just as many people on this street. How do you walk? Do you have any eyes at all? Sima Yu and the others just entered that street before they heard that curse. Sorry. A voice tinged with fear was heard apologizing endlessly. Pa dash. Pa dash. Sounds of a whip being used to hit the person were heard, followed by the wailings of a child. Whose family does this child belong to, that it doesn't even know how to walk properly? Actually dares to bump into young miss, are you courting death, or what? Sob, I'm sorry, I didn't do it on purpose. What dash? Not on purpose? Do you think it's fine just because it wasn't done on purpose? You've already bumped into our young miss and injured her. You deserve to be punished. Pa dash. Pa dash. The whip was used to strike the body of the child endlessly. The street was filled with people but not a single person dared to stop it. This kid, how could he have bumped into that witch? Sigh, this kid. Still so young, but it looks like the road ahead seems bleak. Who asked the kid not to walk properly? Of all people, the one bumped into was her. Sigh, too pitiful. Sima Yu stood behind the group of people. Hearing the wails and sounds of beatings coming from the center along with the gossips all around, she unknowingly furrowed her eyebrows. Cruel. Bai Yunqi pushed everyone aside and charged to the front when he heard of the happenings from inside. Sima Yu and the others followed him in. They saw a 20-over-year-old female, dressed gorgeously, brandishing a whip in her hand, hitting a young child over and over again. Stop! Bai Yunqi shouted when he saw that the young child was going to faint from the whipping. You witch, bullying strangers on this large street. You even want to bully this young child. When Qin Wan, who was in a state of euphoria, heard someone scolding her and she stayed her hand for a moment to look over. I was wondering who it was. Turns out that it's you, this idiot. After she finished speaking, she raised her whip again and it appeared as if she was going to beat the child again. Bai Yunqi had yet to make any movement when a silhouette ran out from behind, grabbing onto Qin Wan's hand. Bei Gong? Bei Gong grabbed onto Qin Wan's hand tightly, preventing the whip in her hand from cracking down. Where did a SL*T like you come from, that you actually dare to hinder this young miss? Qin Wan shouted in anger when she saw that her hand had been stopped by Bei Gong Tang. Let that child off. Bei Gong, what a joke, do you know who this young miss is? You actually dare to give me orders? Slut who doesn't recognize death. Men, capture her. Being so pretty, you must be a vixen who seduces people. Destroy her face for this young miss. A few tens of men charged over from the back, surrounding Bei Gong Tang. Which, you dare? Bei Gong Tang bellowed. Sima Yu raised an eyebrow at the clothes those people were wearing, men from the domineering army? Help me capture that slut. Qin Wan shouted. Yes, miss. The people in the domineering army answered in unison, stretching their hands towards Bei Gong Tang, trying to grab her. Screw your grandfather, you witch. Are you treating me as if I am dead? Bai Yunqi roared and cursed loudly, while facing the domineering army. That's right. So painful. Fatty Chu and the others directly went to war, gathering the people from the domineering army and beating them, causing them to squirm on the ground. You dare to touch your daddy's Bei Gong? Heck, if you are the domineering army, or even if you are not, it's fine, your grandfather, will still beat you up. Fatty Chu was beating and roaring, while Sima Yu, Ouyang Fei and Wei Ziqi were so much more quiet. However, the force applied on the beatings were similar. Qin Wan saw that her own people were beaten by only a few hits from Sima Yu and the others. She berated them for being useless before lifting her hands and striking towards Bei Gong Tang's chest. Bei Gong Tang's turned her body, dodged her fist and held down Qin Wan's wrist with the fingers of her right hand. She was in so much pain that she released the whip that she was holding. It hurts. Qin Wan covered her own hands, retreated 2 steps back and saw that her own wrist had turned red. Bei Gong Tang gave a thought and a flame started burning on the whip, burning it to ashes in an instant. My whip. Qin Wan did not think that Bei Gong Tang's flame could burn her whip, and her heart broke when she saw the ash on the ground. Bei Gong Tang did not care about her screaming. She came beside the child, squatted down and carried him up. Older sister deity, did you come to save us? The young child smiled as he asked. Don't be afraid, no one will dare to beat you anymore, older sis. The little kid nested in Bei Gong Tang's embrace, and fainted the moment he relaxed. Rest assured and sleep. Wei Ziqi and Fatty Chu had not seen this side of Bei Gong Tang before. After a long while, Qin Wan recovered from the heartache of losing her spirit tool. You witch, you dare to ignore the rules. Rules or whatever, this slut dared to destroy my spiritual tool, so I want to take her life. The people who were standing around saw Qin Wan using spiritual aura, and went to hide in a faraway place. In the meantime, only Sima Yu and the few of them were left. During the time that Qin Wan was condensing her spiritual aura, Sima Yu stood in front of Bei Gong Tang. She condensed her spiritual aura as well, sparring it out with her. The opponent's spiritual aura was completely scattered. You're not yet qualified to try to come after our Bei Gong's life. I'm not qualified. I wonder where these young bandits came from. Do we even need qualifications to kill you all? Sima Yu was about to move when Bei Gong Tang then put her hand on her shoulder. This is my problem, let me handle it. Sima Yu nodded her head, turned and took the kid. She was not worried about Bei Gong Tang at all, that Qin Wan have not even reached Spirit King. Bei Gong Tang could destroy her with just her finger. Bei Gong, you can't kill people within Peace City. We can't kill people. Bei Gong Tang frowned. If she can't die, then I'll just cripple her. After she finished speaking, she swiftly ran toward Qin Wan, and started to crush her. Pung. Pung. Her fists landed on Qin Wan's body relentlessly as the people who were standing around watching the scene sucked in a breath of cold air. Hiss, the conflict between women is so brutal. Indeed, it's better to not mess with women in the future. Agreed. These 2 ladies were indeed the strongest amongst the 5 of them. Well fought. Give her 2 more punches. Oh yes. Help me hit her 2 more times. He has always disliked people from the domineering army. This Qin Wan was his number 1 target. Now that Bei Gong was there to step forward, it was a woman beating on another woman. Ha, you witch, how does it feels to be beaten up by people? Bai Yunqi, you yourself do not dare to fight with our domineering army, and let a girl to stand up for you. What kind of chicken are you? You still have the strength to argue. After saying that, Bei Gong Tang stepped on Qin Wan's right hand and said, you normally use this to beat up quite a few people, right? What will happen if I cripple it today? You slut. You dare. After hearing that Bei Gong Tang wanted to cripple her hand, Qin Wan got even more angry, but was also a little afraid. Why would I not dare? Bei Gong Tang gave a cold grin, and applied force on her leg. Qin Wan gave a screech. Ah, you dare to cripple my hand. Ah, you slut, I want to kill you. Bei Gong Tang dug her ears and said, what are you shouting for? I merely stepped on it and have not even crippled you, but you scream like a pig being slaughtered. If I see you bullying the weak again, I really will cripple you. After she finished talking, she withdrew her own leg, went to Sima Yu's side, took the child and said, let us go. Alright, we do not need to care so much about this fly. Let's go, we're heading back. Sima Yu looked at Halcyon, who watched the entire scene play out on the side. He followed them and left. Qin Wan stood up from the ground, looking at the back of Sima Yu and the others, and said with malice, slut, I will definitely find people to kill you all. Miss, do not underestimate the power of those people. So what? Either way, I will not give her a good end. The third princess wants to come to P City? That's right, she dotes on me the most. I will record this matter down first, and leave it to my third cousin to settle. We must make them die without a burial. Miss is brilliant. Stop bootlicking. Send men to watch these few people, we cannot allow them to find out. Got it? Understood, Mississippi. Bai Yunqi brought the few of them back to the headquarters that had less mercenary groups. It was a block with an European-style courtyard, where a few mercenaries were going in and out. He then brought them directly to his own courtyard. Oh Bei Gong, I do not normally see you so easily upset. What made you step up to save the child today? Bei Gong Tang constantly watched Sima Yu clean up and work on his wounds. When she heard what Fatty Chu said, she merely shook her head. She didn't say anything and her gaze appeared quite vacant. Sima Yu applied some medication on the child's body and gave him a few more pills to eat. After that, no problem. It's already great that you have helped us prepare our living arrangements. I'll bring you over, then. Okay. Bei Gong Tang went over to hug that young boy and brought him along as she followed by Yunqi to the house beside his own. I've helped you all get your houses cleaned up. These people are your servant girls during this time. Yunqi, we're used to doing things for ourselves. These few servant girls and all will be unnecessary. You really don't need them. Wei Ziqi nodded his head definitively. Alright then. Bai Yunqi said, you all can return to your previous houses. Yes, young master. You all just arrived here so you should rest up. I'll go and have a word with my father before bringing you all around. Alright, go ahead with what you need to do. Bai Yunqi left as the five of them went to choose their rooms. Bei Gong Tang arranged for the little boy to stay in the room opposite to her own and waited for him to wake up. After more than half a day had passed, the little boy slowly regained consciousness. Seeing Bei Gong Tang sitting at the table and reading, he blinked his eyes as if he were in a dream. Older sister. Bei Gong Tang heard that the little boy had awoken and raised her head to ask, awake? Older sister, thank you for saving me. The little boy said cutely. Bei Gong Tang stood up and walked over. When she came to his bedside, she asked, what is your name? Little Tuesday. The little boy replied, Little Two, where? The light in Little Two's eyes dimmed away as he said softly, Little Two has been chased out of the house by the family. They don't want me anymore, so Little Two has no more family. Chased out of the house. Bei Gong Tang mumbled. She did not press him for a reason and said faintly, you were abandoned today, but you will soar the skies one day and cause them to be filled with endless regret. It was as if the little boy had, yo, you're awake. Sima Yu walked in from the outside. Seeing that the little boy's eyes were red, she, I am not. Little Two, she's the one who tended to the wounds on your body. Thank you older sister. Older sister, I am Little Two. Sima Yu and Bei Gong Tang were similarly shocked. They looked at Little Two with surprise, saying, Little Two, why did you call her older sister? Little Two looked at Bei Gong Tang with surprise, saying, older sister is older sister. She's merely wearing male clothing. How could you tell? Sima Yu asked. I don't know. Ever since I was young I could see some things that some people couldn't. That's why they take me as a monster. Little Two said with some sadness. Sima Yu and Bei Gong Tang exchanged glances as if they could not believe what they were seeing. Sima Yu took out a piece of stone and asked, Little Two, can you see what is inside this rock? Jade. And this? Lump of iron. Sima Yu and Bei Gong Tang were already extremely surprised. What kind of ability did Little Two have? Little Two's acute senses could sense Sima Yu and Bei Gong Tang's subtle mood and cried as he said, older sisters, do not chase Little Two away. Bei Gong Tang stretched forth a hand to wipe away the tears leaking out as she said, we didn't say we were going to chase you away. That's right. Little baby's snot is coming out his nose again. You all really won't chase me away. Little Two looked at Sima Yu and Bei Gong Tang, not lying, what would we lie to you for? Sima Yu laughed involuntarily. In the past, people were good to me too. However, when they chased me away when they found out that I wasn't normal. Little Two said, because I can't cultivate, they say I'm a waste. You can't cultivate? Bei Gong Tang said with surprise. She held Little Two's hand to check before looking at Sima Yu, saying, his meridians have all been sealed. One was required to absorb the spiritual qi into the body before putting it into their dantian, one. If a person's meridians were sealed, it was natural that he would have no way of cultivating. Let me see. Bei Gong Tang moved out of the way as Sima Yu sat by the bedside. She held onto his hands to check and she had the same observation as Bei Gong Tang. How is it? Bei Gong Tang asked. Same as you. Little Two was extremely calm as he said, my father tried to think of ways in the past. However, those spirit master doctors said my meridians were as if blocked with iron. There was no way possible at all. That's why my father abandoned me. After that, I was even chased out. I'm already used to it. Little Two, how old are you? I'm 8 years old already. Merely an 8-year-old child, yet in his voice, they could hear the helplessness he had towards life. Little 2, is your family lord able to cultivate? They're all spirit masters. I'm the only exception. Little 2 replied. Then, do you want to be able to cultivate? Little 2's eyes immediately lit up. He caught what Sima Yu was saying and asked, am I able to cultivate? Yu? Bei Gong Tang looked at Sima Yu as well. If she had a way that would allow Little 2 to cultivate, added to his special ability, his life would definitely not be the same anymore. Sima Yu nodded her head before looking at Little 2, saying, do you want to? I want to cultivate. I do not want to live this way forever. Little 2 said definitively. However, this method will cause you so much pain that you would wish you were dead. It might even cost you your life. Are you still willing to try? Sima Yu asked. No matter how much pain, I will handle it. Little 2 looked at Sima Yu before climbing up and kneeling in front of her, holding her hand, saying, older sister, please help me. Sima Yu saw Little 2's resolute gaze and knew that he must have gone through a lot in order to have this kind of character at such a young age. She helped him up, saying, your knee is still injured, don't kneel anymore. Older sister, have you agreed? Little 2 looked at Sima Yu. My method is an unconventional gambit. As long as you can handle the pain, it can be done. I will be able to. No matter what degree of pain, I will definitely endure it. Little 2 said. Yu, what method do you have? Bei Gong Tang asked. Crimson Flame's flame is able to burn anything. Even if there is a solid blockage within his meridians, it will not be able to resist the flame. Sima Yu said. Using flame to burn the solid blockage away? Bei Gong Tang was extremely shocked by this method and asked, even Halcyon was unable to resist that flame. Will it have any detrimental effects on Little 2? It won't have detrimental effects on him, but it will really hurt him for a moment. Sima Yu said, if his determination is steadfast and he can persevere, it will be no problem. Older sister, if a moment of fate can change my fate, I am willing to give it a try. Even if I have to throw my life away eventually, it's better than wandering through life aimlessly. Little 2 said while looking at Bei Gong Tang. Bei Gong Tang looked at Little 2 before nodded her head, saying, okay then. When will you do it for him? There's no rush. Sima Yu replied, the wounds on his body have yet to heal. There's still 1 or 2 days more before he's completely recovered. Furthermore, I still have to refine quite a number of pills for him. Older sister is even an alchemist? Little 2 asked curiously when he heard that Sima Yu was going to refine pills. That's right. Sima Yu stretched out her hand and pinched Little 2's nose, saying, Little 2, when we're outside, you can't call me older sister. You have to call me older brother, do you understand? Little 2 nodded, saying, I understand. Older sis. Brother. You are different from everyone else. What's different about me? My family once had an alchemist, but he was extremely arrogant. Nobody was worth anything to him, except for the family lord. His nose was held so high that it was touching heaven. Older sister isn't arrogant at all. Little 2 really likes you. Little 2 replied. Who knew that you had such a glib tongue? Sima Yu laughed as she said. Everything I said is true. Little 2 said seriously. This older brother believes it. Sima Yu smiled as she rubbed Little 2's head. Little 2 appeared very pure to her. Although he had experienced more than a little hardship, his soul was still untainted. It really caused one to want to dote on him. Bei Gong, I'm going to go and prepare for a bit before helping him refine some pills. You can help him apply some ointment. We'll let him take a pill in the afternoon as well. Sima Yu said as she stood up. Okay. Bei Gong Tang nodded. Your older sister Bei Gong is also an alchemist, okay. Thinking of the shocked expression that Little 2 had when he first found out that she was an alchemist, Sima Yu could not help but tease a little bit before leaving. Just as she thought, Little 2 was extremely shocked when he found out that Bei Gong Tang was an alchemist as well. He was extremely puzzled, why were these two alchemists so different from the alchemist that he had met before? Sima Yu returned and saw that Halcyon was leaning against the pillar in front of her door. What's up? Sima Yu asked. That kid. He has a spirit beast's bloodline. Halcyon said directly. Spirit beast bloodline? Sima Yu looked around her before saying, let's talk inside the house. After pushing the house open, the two of them entered and Sima Yu closed the door, saying, how do you know that Little 2 has spirit beast bloodline? Smell. Halcyon said, spirit beasts who are powerful are more sensitive towards the smell of other spirit beasts. Then do you know what kind of spirit beast's bloodline he has? Sima Yu asked. Halcyon shook his head, saying, his bloodline have yet to awaken. However, his physique renders him unable to cultivate. That is why there is no way to awaken his bloodline. Who knows, his ability could be related to his bloodline. Sima Yu said. It can be considered his good fortune to have encountered you guys. Halcyon said, earlier on, I sensed his body and it may not be so that the blockage in his meridians can be burnt away even by my fire. However, if it's the flame of that guy, there's no problem. Only when he mentioned Crimson Flame, did Sima Yu think of her earlier confusion. She asked, Halcyon, aside from having the fire attribute, you have wind as well, don't you? He had no idea why she would ask him this, however, he still nodded his head. You can even control space. Sima Yu said. Right. Halcyon replied. At that time when you were chasing me, although it looked like I was running in front of you, you had actually created a barrier to contain me, am I right? Sima Yu asked. Halcyon raised his eyebrows. How did you know? Sima Yu saw that he didn't refute her, so she confirmed her suspicious. At that time, she had broken off contact with her spirit pagoda because he had imprisoned her in a separate space long ago. Guessed it. Sima Yu said. She did not tell him that she managed to guess it because she had lost contact with her spirit pagoda. Right, can you spirit beasts become array masters as well? Not possible. Zheng Ming replied, spirit beasts have limitations. We can't become alchemists, armament masters, and array masters. Then how are you able to control space? Because of my eyes. Your eyes? Sima Yu couldn't understand. What did it have to do with his eyes? Halcyon closed his eyes. When he opened them again, there were 2 more eyeballs in his 2 eyes. He was called the four-eyed bird because there he had these 2 eyeballs. Halcyon closed his eyes again and his eyes recovered their usual appearance when he opened them. You are able to use the power of space because of your eyes? Sima Yu asked. You could say that. Halcyon said, different spirit beasts have different abilities according to their different attributes. Just like how I can control space, there are those that can manipulate flame. So this is the case. Sima Yu said, does that mean other spirit beasts are unable to use this space? Not necessarily. Halcyon said, in the past, I only knew that we four-eyed birds were able to do so. However, the world is vast. It's not impossible for other spirit beasts to possess this attribute as well. It would be great if I had a talent towards the manipulation of space. Sima Yu said enviously. Halcyon glanced coolly at her, saying, this is something inherent. There's no point being jealous, you will never possess it. After he finished speaking, he stood up to leave, leaving behind Sima Yu's aggrieved silhouette that was glaring at him. Heaving a sigh, she stood up to lock the door before entering the spirit pagoda with a flash. She appeared inside the pill refinement room directly. Master, what pills are you going to refine this time? Little Spirit appeared and asked eagerly. Ever since Sima Yu was able to refine pills, he had his candy to eat once again. Right now, he was ecstatic seeing that she had appeared inside the pill refinement room. Previous chapter. Frost cold pill. Sima Yu said. Okay. Little Spirit disappeared when he finished speaking. Sima Yu took out the method of refining the frost cold pill to study for a little bit. After a short while, Little Spirit appeared carrying quite a few pill ingredients in his hands. Master. This pill isn't easy to refine, so I prepared 2 sets of ingredients for you. Little Spirit placed the pill ingredients on the table as he said. Thank you, Little Spirit. Sima Yu nodded her head in him before beginning to focus on refining. She only refined one part of it, but she made some errors during the fusion process and wasted a portion of the pill ingredients. This frost cold pill is really quite hard to refine. Sima Yu lamented as she cleared away the wasted pill ingredients. Of course. If not, it would not be a 4th-ranked pill that has the same value as a 5th-ranked one. Little Spirit said. However, Yu, this is just your first time refining it. It's normal for you to fail. Sima Yu pondered it over for a while before trying again a second time. After failing twice, she successfully refined a stove of it with a reap of 4 pills. Seeing that she still had 2 portions of pill ingredients, she decided to refine them all, and they were all successfully done. 12 pieces, not bad. Sima Yu took out half of them and gave the remaining half to Little Spirit. Little Spirit hugged the pill bottle with a huge grin on his face. It had not even been 1 day since they left the spirit pagoda, and it was not even afternoon yet. She went out and waved to Wei Ziqi and the others when she saw them, before heading to Little Tu's room. Bei Gong Tang was just speaking with Little Tuesday. When she saw Sima Yu enter, she asked, done? Sima Yu nodded and walked over, asking, how's Little Tu's recovery? Quicker than I expected. Bei Gong Tang was no doctor, but she was an alchemist. She had experience dealing with medication. She was extremely surprised when she saw the speed of which Little Tu was healing. Sima Yu examined Little Tu for a bit and said, he has really fully recovered already. We'll just need to find the time and we will be able to open his meridians. Really? Little Tu stared at Sima Yu as if he didn't dare to believe her, then let us do it now. Sima Yu patted him on the head, saying, we can't do it now. Why? Little Tu and Bei Gong Tang asked simultaneously. We just came here, so we have to pay a visit to Yunqi's parents first. Sima Yu said, I was initially in closed-door cultivation, so Ziqi and the others didn't call for us. I just saw them, so I have to go and meet them now. That's true. Bei Gong Tang said. Older sister, you all won't abandon me here, right? Little Tu heard that the 2 were leaving, so he quickly grabbed onto Bei Gong Tang's clothes. We won't. You're a guest as well, so you have to go with us. Sima Yu said. Me too? Little Tu was quite afraid of meeting strangers and there was a trace of fear in his eyes. That's right. You stayed in another's house for 2 days, so you have to go and give a word of thanks to the owner. Sima Yu said. Okay then. Little Tu said softly. Wei Ziqi and the others were waiting inside the house. Seeing that Sima Yu and the other two had come out, they said, let's go. After leaving the house, they first went to the house just opposite to look for Bai Yunqi. The manservant said that Bai Yunqi had already gone to look for his father, and even said that they could let him bring them over when they had finished with their closed-door cultivation. When they came to the lobby, they found Bai Yunqi. He took them to the living room and sent for men to look for his father, Bai Yuan Chun. My father just happens to be at home today. However, he was just called out by my mother. You can all take a seat first and they will be over soon. Bai Yunqi said courteously. Okay. Oh right, I've already helped you to inquire about the auction. It was initially supposed to be held in 5 days. However, they said that they suddenly obtained 2 treasures and so, delayed it by 5 days. Delayed? It should be lead time given to raise funds for those people who are interested. After all, these 2 items are not your everyday goods. Its price will naturally not be low. Bai Yunqi said. What kinds of things? Fatty Chu asked. A black grade, high-leveled spirit skill and a 6th-ranked pill. Bai Yunqi said. They all sucked in a breath. These 2 things, when placed on the Yi-Lin continent, would truly be enough to drive people crazy. Ugly Person has already released the news. I think it'll be a crazy competition when that time comes. Bai Yunqi said. Then are those people able to participate? Wei Ziqi asked, I don't think that you can go just because you want to, right? Only those whose influence are 3rd-ranked and higher are able to participate. Bai Yunqi said, Ugly Person has already given out the invitations. Only those who receive the invitations are able to participate. Unless you are auctioning something or some special identities. Who can be regarded as a person with a special identity? Those who possess the Ugly Person blue card. However, those who hold those kind of blue cards are few. I don't know who possesses one. Bai Yunqi said, I think that those who hold the blue cards are the VIPs of Ugly Person. Those whom they want to grow closer to. Will we be able to go when the time comes? You just have to go with us at that time. We have already received the invitation. What do you all say? Should we go auction some things at the auction and change some money to the currency here so we can spend some? If you feel like playing around, that's fine as well. If you want to auction something, you have to first go the auction beforehand to appraise it. However, I don't have time to go out these few days. No problem. We can find out own way. We can go on our own. When the time comes, I'll get some men to prepare some beast carts for you. No need to trouble you. We can walk over. That sounds good as well. Just let me know if you have anything you need. At this time, Bai Yuan Chun walked in with his wife. Sima Yu and the others stood up immediately. Are you guys Yunqi's friends? Welcome, welcome. Father, mother. Wei Ziqi and the others cupped their hands and bowed, greetings to uncle and auntie. We initially wanted to pay you a visit yesterday, but because you went into closed-door cultivation, we postponed it to today. Where are our manners? We ask uncle and auntie for your forgiveness. What are you talking about, forgiveness or not? We're already heard from Li Kuei that you saved our Ziqi's life. You all are the saviors of our army. Bai Yunqi's mother, Sun Ran, said. She looked extremely similar to Sun Lili, but their temperaments were far from the same. While Sun Lili was like a big child, she appeared straightforward and steadfast. Let's all take a seat. Bai Yuan Chun waved his hands towards everyone. Seeing the small boy standing beside Bei Gong Tang, he said, is the young boy that you all saved yesterday? Little Two greets uncle and auntie. Little Two said cutely. Sun Lili looked at Little Two's appearance and said, what a cute and knowledgeable little child. Father, mother, Fatty Chu and the others want to auction something at Ugly Person. Do you know what requirements there are? Previous chapter. Half an hour had already passed since Sima Yu and the others had left the room. Bai Yuan Chun's personality was extremely good. If there was anything, he let Sima Yu and the others say whatever they wanted. If there wasn't anything, he still planned to let Sima Yu and the others speak a whole lot. After they reached back, Sima Yu started to prepare to open Little Two's meridians. Wei Ziqi and the others called Sima Yu and Bei Gong Tang over to ask about the basic situation. Sima Yu explained what Halcyon said to everyone, and the few of them were extremely surprised. Little Two actually has the bloodline of a spirit beast. No wonder he heals so much faster than the average person. Bei Gong Tang recalled the speed of which his wounds had healed. She had her suspicions before, but she only knew the reasons now. After all, the medicine that they had prepared for him were not the best at healing wounds. Yu, how much time would you need in order to completely open his meridians? We'll have to look at the current circumstances first. Sima Yu said, in any case, there's still a lot of time before the auction. I'll go and take a look at his inherent ability first. You all can go take a look around outside if you have nothing else to do, there's no need to wait for us. Okay. Sima Yu and Bei Gong Tang came to the room, where Little Two was sitting on a stool, waiting for them. Little Two, I'm going to ask you one last time. Are you really willing to endure the excruciating bone-eroding pain? Little Two nodded his head, saying, older brother, there's no need to worry. I will endure it. Okay then. Sima Yu took out a jade bottle, saying, first eat the pill inside here, and it will protect your 5 visceras and 6 bowels. Little Two took a pill and felt as if his hand was being frozen into ice. He did not know whether or not he would turn into an ice man after eating this. However, he still ate it without the slightest hesitation. Sima Yu held on to Little Two's hand and inserted a bit of spiritual chi into his body, catalyzing the pill so that it would activate immediately. In just a moment, Little Two's body started to shiver with cold. Sima Yu saw that the time was just about right as she turned to say to Bei Gong Tang, Bei Gong, go outside the door and guard it. Nobody is allowed to disturb us during this period of time no matter what. Or else, Little Two's life will be in danger. Bei Gong Tang nodded her head and she went outside the door to guard it. Sima Yu sucked in a breath and quickly carried the ice-cold Little Two to the bed. After that, she used a little flame wrapped in spiritual qi to slowly pour into Little Two's body. In the blink of an eye, Little Two felt a blazing heat that drove off the biting cold. In a short moment, it was as if he was trapped inside a body that was roasting on an open fire. Sima Yu could not help but comfort Little Two right now, because she had not choice but to pour her entire power into that little flame in order to burn away whatever was in his meridians. One little mishap would burn Little Two to ashes. That little flame was even thinner than a strand of hair, and it entered Little Two's meridians. She had only gone through 3 meridians when she felt her spirit power drain away. Little Two had remained silent the entire time. It was only when Sima Yu withdrew her flame that he passed out immediately. Hearing movement from inside, Bei Gong Tang pushed the door open and entered. Seeing the unconscious and pale Little Two along with Sima Yu who was covered in sweat, she asked, how is it? Only accomplished 40%. Sima Yu stood up and felt a bit giddy. She had consumed quite a lot of spirit power this time, and it was almost completely drained. You don't look too good yourself. You should take a rest first. I'll take care of Little Tuesday. Okay. Sima Yu took out a pill and ate it before preparing to go back and rest. Yu. Bei Gong Tang called her to a stop. What's up? Thank you. Bei Gong Tang looked gratefully at Sima Yu. What's there to thank me for? I only thought of helping him because I saw that he looked so cute and pitiful. Sima Yu replied. She opened the door and left once she finished speaking. Although this is what she said, Sima Yu subconsciously knew, according to Sima Yu's personality, she would not do so much for a stranger. The only reason she was willing to do this was because she herself had treated this young boy special. Sima Yu returned to her house. Too much spirit power was used that the pill she just ate was nowhere near enough to replenish it. As a result, she took out the soul fluid and dripped it into her mouth before closing her eyes to begin to cultivate. Once the soul fluid entered her mouth, she felt the weariness dissipate by more than half. When it reached the second, she opened her eyes. By then, the weariness had completely gone. She came to where Little Two's house was. She saw that he had already awakened, but his body still appeared more weary and could not lie down on the bed. You've recovered? Bei Gong Tang asked. Sima Yu looked at Little Two's pale face and her eyebrows knitted together, saying, Little Two's condition doesn't look good. You think that everyone has your perverse amount of spirit strength? Bei Gong Tang glared at her, saying, it's already not bad that he is able to hold on until now. Sima Yu understood as well. After thinking it through, she took out her soul fluid and opened his mouth before lightly pouring a drop into his mouth. Little Two only felt that the fluid eased his weariness by quite a bit and he asked, older brother, what is that? Something useful to you. Sima Yu said, only 3 of your meridians have been opened and you still have 9 more. If we use our current speed as reference, we will need to do this 3 more times. These are also only your 12 meridians. After that, you still have your 8 arteries and veins and whatnot to open. I'm afraid we'll need even more time. Thank you, older brother. Your luck is really considered to be good. Your meridians appear to be completely blocked and stuffed full of impurities. If you didn't happen to chance upon me and my extremely hot flames, you would never be able to cultivate for the rest of your life. However, if it was not for Bei Gong Tang who saved you, you would not have your life today. Thank you, older sister and brother. I will never forget the kindness you have shown me. Little Two said. That's right. See, your older sister Bei Gong isn't that much bigger than you. If you want to thank her, why not give your heart to her? Sima Yu teased. Bei Gong Tang smacked her, scolding, you're talking nonsense again. Huh, I was just kidding. Sima Yu said, I'm planning to head over to Ugly Person for a look. Do you all want to come with me? Bei Gong Tang looked at Little Two and said, you all can go ahead, I'll stay here and take care of him. In the afternoon when he's regained his strength, bring him along with us. Sima Yu said. Alright then. We'll call you when the time comes. Sima Yu said as she left, Ugly Person. This name is really weird. The owner may really be an ugly person, that's why he wanted to name it something like this. Just as Sima Yu said, Little Two was much better in the afternoon and could get down from the bed and walk around. Fatty Chu and the others had no time to visit Little Two when he was nursing his injuries, so Little Two was shy when he saw them. Knowing they wanted to go to Ugly Person, Sun Ran arranged some men to prepare beast carts for them. They felt that they did not want to waste her good intentions, so they sat on the beast carts and headed to the most bustling street in Peace City. Previous chapter. Ugly Person began their trade from the afternoon. Sima Yu and the others had a different impression of it this time around, as compared to the last time. With the amount of people coming in and out of the loft, it was as if the doorstep was going to be trampled into pieces any time. Seeing the 2 words, Ugly Person, on the door, Sima Yu found it a little blinding. She figured that the plan for this road would be around the same. A shopkeeper saw that Sima Yu and the others had entered. He stepped forward and smiled, saying, is it the first time that you all are at Ugly Person? Do you have anything that you want to sell? How do you know that it's our first time here? Fatty Chu saw the shopkeeper and asked. Hey, those of us who work as shopkeepers have no other talent, so our memory has to be top-notch. We will remember every single person that has come to our shop before. The shopkeeper smiled and said, when this lowly one noticed the few of you, I guessed that it was your first time here. Do all you shopkeepers have such fantastic memory? Sima Yu and the others stepped through the door and saw more than a few shopkeepers tending to customers. We all depend on this little bit of talent to continue feeding ourselves. The shopkeeper turned and said. It must be the first time that the few of you are here. Do you want me to first give you a brief overview of our shop? Okay. Then let us begin from our area of pills. Guests, please head over here. The shopkeeper brought them to the first and second level to tour around. Sima Yu realized that this had some similarities with the Dongcheng Kingdom's Xianyuan Pavilion. It was all-encompassing and had everything. It was just that you had to be of relatively high rank. Little Tu held on to Bei Gongtang's hand with eyes wide in amazement. He was slightly overwhelmed by these things and did not even blink. Older sister, there are so many things here. You will have the opportunity to see many more things in the future. They proceeded on to the spirit tool area from the pill area and then on to the spirit beast area. The quality of this shopkeeper was really not the average standard. After taking them for a brief walk around, he continually answered their questions and did not appear annoyed at all. Guests, you have already seen the entire of the first and second level. I wonder if you have anything you are interested in buying? The shopkeeper smiled as he asked. They were not in need of any pill ingredients and there was a huge amount of spirit tools that they could use before, that were available in the spirit pagoda. As a result, they did not choose any and finally ended up symbolically choosing a few fun items. As a result, the shopkeeper didn't say anything and did not discriminate against them. He merely politely asked a question, guests, do you have anything else that you need? Sima Yu had just scrutinized the price of the pills, pill ingredients, spirit beasts, and the other items and knew the average market price. She turned around and asked, I heard that this place holds auctions as well. The shopkeeper understood the meaning behind her question, asking, guests, do you have things that you want to auction? Sima Yu nodded her head. Then, do you all know about the practices of the ugly person? More or less. Wei Ziqi replied, since you all know it already, then there is no need for me to repeat it. If you want to auction something, you have to head to the third floor to discuss it. Guests, please follow me. The shopkeeper brought them up to the third level. The third level situated a single room. There were only people in two little rooms, and the others were empty. They came to a room and the shopkeeper asked, I wonder what type of items our guests wish to auction. I will invite our appraisal master to appraise the value of your items. Pills. Devil stone. Pill ingredients. The shopkeeper waited for them to finish speaking before saying, is it possible for our guests to take out your items for me to take a look? Sima Yu and the others knew that this was standard practice, so they directly took out their respective boxes. The shopkeeper roughly gave it a look over and affirmed that the ranks of these items were not low. He said, guests, please wait for a moment. I will invite our appraisal master over to appraise everyone's items. After he finished speaking, he turned around and left the private room. In a short while, he was accompanied by a middle-aged male. Guests, this is Great Masterly of our action. He is a 5th-ranked alchemist. Sima Yu and the others stood up, saying, greeting to Great Masterly. I heard that you all have pill ingredients that you wish to auction. That's right. Wei Ziqi said, we have pill ingredients, devil stones and pills. Then bring them up one by one. Great Masterly looked at the boxes on the table, sat down and took out a pair of gloves and put them up. After that, he took out a box and opened it. Inside it sat a 1000-year snow orchid. Great Masterly took the snow orchid and examined it before placing it below his nose and sniffing. He immediately plucked off a little of the blade and placed it in his mouth, tasting it and saying, a 1000-year snow orchid, a rank 4 pill ingredient. Pass, it can be auctioned. The starting bid will be 500 gold coins. This was merely a random pill ingredient that Fatty Chu had taken from the spirit pagoda. He never thought about how good it would be. He had merely wanted to participate in the fun, so he was able to accept this kind of rank. Since there is no objection, this would be its corresponding number. You can use this to participate in the auction. The servant girl who had accompanied Great Masterly took half of the name tag and handed it to Fatty Chu. The second type was a pill ingredient as well. After Great Masterly appraised it, he handed Wei Ziqi a tag. Ouyang Fei's item was a devil stone. When Great Masterly appraised it after the 2 pill ingredients, he showed some interest for the first time. He had seen too many pill ingredients, and the 2 ingredients before were not considered too precious. If it wasn't that it had matured for a longer period of time than others, the result of it even qualifying for the auction was debatable. However, Ouyang Fei's item was different. Once Great Masterly opened it, he realized that it was a devil stone from a kind of divine spirit beast. What kind of existence was a divine spirit beast? It was a terrifying existence that could kill a spirit saint in a heartbeat. Furthermore, a devil stone was not something that every spirit beast had. Most of the devil stones on the market were saint ranks. Saint beast spirit stones were always priceless. This is a devil stone from a first-ranked saint beast saber-tooth tiger. Great Masterly was indeed someone of great knowledge, and very quickly recognized the origins of the devil stone. Correct. Ouyang Fei had pretty much understood how ugly person worked, and was not suspicious at all towards their level of ability. Good. Good. A first-ranked Saint Beast's devil stone is ranked 2nd. It passes. Its lowest bidding price is 2,000 gold coins. This is your number plate. Ouyang Fei took the nameplate and kept it away. There were 2 boxes on the table. One was Bei Gong Tang's and one was Sima Yu's. Great Masterly randomly chose Sima Yu's bottle and opened it. Inside it lay a single jade bottle. He took the jade bottle and felt the bone chill. His heart shuddered as he quickly opened it up to take a look. Frost cold pill. Great Master Li cried out in surprise. This pill was the frost cold pill that Sima Yu had just refined. She took 2 out because she had extras. It is. I wonder if it is passable. Of course it passes. Great Master Li said excitedly, this frost cold pill has an extraordinary result and is extremely complex to refine. The ingredients necessary to refine it is extremely special as well and are not easy to obtain. As a result, this frost cold pill is rare. It is a second-ranked pill and every pill starts at a lowest bid of 5,000. Even though she heard about the 5,000 gold coins, Sima Yu did not feel that it was a huge sum of money. This was merely the price of an uncommon 5th-ranked pill over here. However, this was an auction and the people would naturally compete against each other. As a result, she had no opinion towards the appraised. This is your number plate. Great Master Li handed the number plate to Sima Yu before he prepared to say, will you all be coming to participate together? That's right. Is there any problem? Because 2 of you have auction items that are 2nd ranked and above, we can prepare a private room for you all if you plan to participate together. In that case, well thank you. Great Master Li looked towards the servant girl as she took out a card and handed it to Ouyang Fei. You can use this card to enter the room above that has the same numbers as the one on the card. Great Master Li said. We will come during the stipulated time. Ouyang Fei said as he kept the card. After they finished speaking about everything, the things were handed over to the auction for safekeeping and everyone stood up and prepared to go. Can this lord please stay behind? Great Master Li called out to Sima Yu. Does Grand Master Li have something to discuss? May I ask if the frost cold pill was refined by you? Sima Yu smiled as she shook her head. Nope, it was refined by my master. Dare I ask which great master you have hailed under? My master wishes to lay low and does not like me to go about using her name. So this is the case. I have been too presumptuous. Great Master Li smiled apologetic. Sima Yu and the group left before Great Master Li ordered the servant girl, release news of the frost cold pill and the Saint Beast Devil Stone. Yes, Manager Li. The servant girl gave a bow before retreating. It turns out that Great Master Li was not just the appraisal master of Ugly Person, but was also a manager here. After exiting Ugly Person, Fatty Chu started lamenting about the difference in treatment. The pill ingredient that he had taken out was merely worth 500 gold coins, but Sima Yu's frost cold pill was worth 5,000 gold coins. It had a difference of 10 times. You should be content. Your pill is merely another pill ingredient, but that frost cold pill contains ingredients that are even more precious than yours. If it was not for the fact that the one you had taken out was over 1,000 years old, don't even talk about 500 coins. Even 50 coins would be cause for celebration. Wei Ziqi laughed as he said. It would be at least 100, how could it only be 50? Fatty Chu smiled as he said. Distinguished guests, please wait. The shopkeeper who had shown them around earlier, chased after and called out to them. What's up? Wei Ziqi asked. This is something that Great Master Li has allowed me to give to you. It contains the items of this auction. If you all wish to obtain it, you may prepare beforehand. Sima Yu took the auction list and said, thank you. You're welcome. If there's no problem, we will head back first. The service at Ugly Person is really not too bad. Let's go, we can go and take a look to see if there's anything else that's good when we return. The beast cart slowly left Ugly Person and Fatty Chu pulled the curtains open to take a look outside. He happened to see Qin Wan. Does Qin Wan always bring out a troop that is that big when he goes out? Sima Yu and the others went to the window to take a look as well, and happened to see a few beast carts, with a single gorgeous beast cart. Qin Wan happened to come down from the beast cart and turned around and said something. After that, a gorgeous lady appeared beside him and she came down from the beast cart as well. It was as if she could feel that there were a few people watching them, so she turned around and took a look at them. Her gaze turned sharp and it carried with it a kind of arrogance. Who is that lady? Such a strong aura. Very powerful. Someone who hangs out with Qin Wan cannot be that great either. Ouyang Fei creased his eyebrows, saying, earlier on, Yun Qi said that Qin Wan was a person who would hold grudges. She has an elder female cousin who is a princess of West Moon Kingdom. Although her mother is just an imperial concubine, that princess has high innate skill and her position in the palace is extraordinarily good, so she has helped to elevate her mother to a higher standing as well. Then this should probably be that princess. What's her name? Shi Yu. Her talent is good, she's strong, she even has a good backing. How is it, are you jealous? What is there to be jealous about? Fatty Chu asked, we aren't too bad ourselves. So narcissistic. Yu, let us take a look at the auction list. Okay. Sima Yu took out the auction list and saw a long string of names and said, the auction this round is really huge. It actually has so many things. Tisk, there's more than a few tens of things here, right? Take a look, guys. The most lowly ranked items are at the front while the highly ranked things are behind. There's even a beast egg. Speaking of beast's eggs, Sima Yu thought of the previous time where her academy had let everyone choose beast eggs. She never received any news about it, so she never knew what kind of spirit beasts they had chosen. What about the beast eggs that you all chose the last time? How come I've never seen your spirit beasts? We have no idea what spirit beast eggs we chose the last time. We've never seen any of them before. Mine is still an egg. Wei Ziqi said. Ours as well. They haven't hatched at all. However, at least ours are all still alive. Bei Gongtang laughed as she said. Could it be that someone's egg is dead? Sima Yu asked. Oh, right. Why don't you ask Fatty where his beast egg is? Fatty, where's your egg? Eaten it. Fatty Chu said. As he said this, he was sulking a bit. You ate it? Sima Yu looked at Fatty Chu with confusion. That's right. It was a dead egg from the start. After that, I used the things in your kitchen to turn it into a fried egg and ate it. Fatty Chu said sulkily. We also benefited from it and ate a little. Although his skill was subpar, the flavor of the egg was not too bad. Ouyang Fei said. Sima Yu burst into laughter. She saw Fatty Chu's sulking face and said, no worries, isn't it just a beast egg? If you've eaten it, then you've eaten it. In any case, I've helped you strengthen your beastie into one that is so much stronger than the egg. Within the Sophia mountain range, the 5 of them had captured quite a few saint beasts and Sima Yu had helped them tame it before letting them form contracts with it. Right now, the group of them had a contract with a saint beast each. Sigh, there are even unknown items here. Wei Ziqi had been looking at the list the entire time, and saw that there were things he was completely unfamiliar with, written below. Sima Yu and the few of them all gathered together. Even little Tu toddled over as well. Who knows what these few items are? Wei Ziqi pointed at the few things below as he said. Doesn't even have a name, they only drew the appearance. Fatty Chu said, these kinds of things could be treasures or could be useless as well. After browsing through these things, are there any that you want to buy? Wei Ziqi and the others shook their head. They really didn't lack anything right now, so these things didn't entice them at all. That black grade high-level martial art was not bad, however, if he had to fight for it against those large clans, there's no way that he would be able to beat them. It was better to just forget about it. Sima Yu saw that nobody had any opinions. Although there were many treasures listed here, it wasn't appealing because nobody here was greedy. Since there aren't any items that appeal to you, we'll just wait until that time to see if there's anything that we want. Right now, we'll go back and wait for the auction to arrive. When they returned to the Sand Gull army, Sima Yu went to look for Bai Yunqi to tell her that they were going to participate in the auction on their own, without needing to tag along with the army. Bai Yunqi was initially shocked when he heard that they wanted to participate on their own, but he appeared understanding after that. They definitely would have their own ways of thinking, so he didn't say much after that. When they returned to their own houses, Sima Yu placed the auction list on her dresser and took her shoes off before lying down on the bed. Mo Sha came out of her devil snare bracelet and appeared on her desk. Why did you come out? Mo Sha waved his hands and the list floated over. The long list of names appeared right in front of her. What, are you interested toward something in this auction? Buy these 2 things for me. What's caught your interest? Lazurite pearl and dark stone. Sima Yu was so shocked that her head almost fell off her hands. She stood up and ran over barefooted, saying, hey brother, this lazurite pearl is a treasure and the starting bid is over 10,000 gold coins. I don't have so much gold coins with me, how am I supposed to help you bid for it? You have no money? When did you ever see that I have money? My things have always just be directly taken from the spirit pagoda. I think that even my entire clan only has 1,000 gold coins. Sima Yu pointed at the nameless picture of the dark stone at the bottom. The starting bid for this item is only 200 gold coins and is easy to get. But the lazurite pearl isn't easy. You think of something. I must have this lazurite pearl. Mo Sha said. What use is this lazurite pearl that you actually like it so much? This is an item that belongs to me from the start. Sima Yu pursed her lips, saying, easy for you to say, this is the #1 item in the entire auction. How am I supposed to battle those large clans for it? Think of something. After he finished speaking, he turned back into black smoke and returned to the devil snare bracelet. You, jerk. Sma Yu stomped her feet and walked over to the bedside before lying down, saying, really? What are we supposed to do? She tossed about on the bed for a while before she went to call Ouyang Fei and Bei Gong Tang over. What's up? There's something I need the 2 of you to help me with. Sima Yu said as she locked the door behind them and brought the 2 of them inside the spirit pagoda. What is it? You even brought us in here. There's something that I've set my sights on and need to auction for. However, I need money. That's why I need you 2 to help me refine pills for a while, so that I can use it to exchange for money. What have you set your sights on? Lazurite pearl. SS dash. That lazurite pearl with the starting bid of 10,500? Ouyang Fei and Bei Gong Tang were shocked senseless by a single sentence from her and said, that lazurite pearl has a starting bid of 10,500, and is something that everybody wants to get their hands on. We're just afraid that you wouldn't be able to bid for it even with a few tens of thousands. That's right, that's why I said that I needed to find a way to earn money. Sima Yu was also dying inside, but had no tears to cry. I still have a bit of money with me, take it first. This was a savings card of the Yilin continent, and every card could contain a bit of coins. Green card? This is a card that you can only use when you have 10,000. No, a super nouveau riche. Bei Gong Tang looked at the green card and said, never thought that you would actually have so much money. Ouyang Fei didn't comment on the responses of these 2 and shoved the card into Sima Yu's hand, saying, take it to use first. What if you suddenly want to buy something? Sima Yu asked. Ouyang Fei shook his head, saying, I've seen everything there, there's nothing that I want. Then I'll use it first and return it to you in the future. Sima Yu said as she kept the card away. However, this still isn't enough. Bei Gong Tang said, I feel that with so many powers fighting over this, 10,000 can't cut it. That's why I still have to find ways of raising money. Sima Yu said, right, take out all those lowly ranked items that are useless and sell them. After that, I'll take those lowly ranked pills out to sell as well. We'll talk about it again when we see how much we can earn. 2 days later, Sima Yu and the others lugged a huge quantity of pill spirit tools out to sell, however, they only sold 20,000 gold coins worth of them. Master, you have so many pills. You can sell them at the auction as well. Thousand Resonance saw that Sima Yu was so flustered, so he reminded them, didn't you take your frost cold pill to the auction as well? You can take the 100 revolution pill to the auction this time. It'll definitely be received even better than your frost cold. Sima Yu's eyes shone and she hugged Thousand Resonance and rubbed her head against him, saying, you're truly the smartest. How come I didn't think of the 100 revolutions pill? However, this 100 revolutions pill is so uncommon in the primordial lands, I'm sure it will be even more precious in the Yi-Lin continent. When we go, it's better to conceal our identities. Otherwise, it'll be troublesome if we provoke those people. Master can let Big Brother Mo Sha change your aura for a while, then you can don a disguise or something to change your appearance. Thousand Resonance said. Not bad. Thank you, Thousand Resonance. This 100 revolutions pill was something completely out of her reach just 2 years ago, however, she was able to refine them on her own now. Adding on to that, the most difficult to obtain golden snake fruit that was inside her spirit pagoda, this 100 revolutions pill was definitely not difficult for her to obtain at all. She said she was going to do it, so she did it. Sima Yu chose 400 revolutions pill and the remaining ones were left for Sima Yu Lu and the others. She waved goodbye to Bei Gong Tang and the others before leaving on her own. She came to an inconspicuous little alley and quickly entered it when she saw that nobody was looking. By the time she came out, she had already completely changed her entire aura.